bring criminals to justice. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Former Vice President Mike Pence speaking in Evansville Thursday.
I submit we must not rest, we must not relent until we restore the sanctity of life to the center of law in every state in America.
The former Indiana governor celebrating the overturning of Roe v. Wade at the annual banquet for Right to Life of Southwest Indiana. Week 2 of high school football tonight, the big local matchups. 6A at number 4, Carmel takes on number 1 Cedar Grove. 5A number 2 Decatur Central faces 4A number 1 New Palestine. And in 6A again, number 2 Cathedral has number 3 Brownsburg. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Westbound 70 stopped going into the north split from Rural Street. That's because of disabled trailers in the left lane. Right there at the split, it's really causing some stop traffic. I would use Washington Street, at least from Rural Street into downtown. Traffic sponsored by BJ's Wholesale Club. BJ's Wholesale Club is coming to town this fall in Noblesville. BJ's has up to 25% off grocery store prices before coupons, and they have lower gas prices every day. Join today. Go to bjs.com/Noblesville. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
There's still time to get the backyard of your dreams. Book now with Indy Decorative Concrete, your backyard patio experts. IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
It's time for the Crestpoint Real Estate Market Minute.
It's Terry Stacy, and with us is Patrick Keller, managing broker and owner of Crestpoint Real Estate, Indy's real estate experts.
Hey Terry, this week I'd like to put things into perspective in regards to real estate. Obviously the headlines have been talking about how real estate is changing due to higher interest rates and it's not as favorable to purchase. 6 months ago when rates were about 3.5% to 3.75%, if you were interested in a $300,000 house, you likely would have had to spend about $330,000 or $340,000 on that home to win it. Today, that $300,000 house, you're likely to spend $300,000 on it. With the increase in interest rates, the mortgage payment on that $300,000 house is ironically very similar to the $300,000 listed house 6 months ago. What we're seeing is that it's a pretty even wash right now, and you have an opportunity.
Get your home value estimate in 60 seconds at patrickkeller.realtor.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly sunny skies as we head into the afternoon hours. Today's high 83, clear, quiet, and comfortable overnight. A low down to 65. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
71 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, August 26th, and things that are trending this hour: International Dog Day. It's a day for people around the world to take a moment and celebrate man's best friend. Hashtag International Dog Day. Also trending, Formula One racing. Breaking news coming out of there. Audi will join Formula One in 2026. And finally trending, Elton John and Britney Spears. They've teamed up together for a new song. It released overnight. It's a dance record called Hold Me Closer. There's a 35-year age difference between the two, so who is making who relevant?
My question to you is this, and you are more astute to answer this question than I am, and Kevin, you're a young person as well. In the modern era in which everything is downloaded and on the internet at our fingertips, like there was a time where, let's say, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers, great example, did a duet together.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to sell gobs and gobs of these singles. I think there was an album associated maybe with that as well. Okay, here's how we monetize this. Mm-hmm. In the modern era, unless Elton John and Britney Spears are going to go on tour together, how do you monetize them doing this one-off single together? What is the play on that, and how do you make profit on that?
Well, one would be downloads.
But let's face it, the majority of people are able to get music
free?
For free.
It would be ASCAP and BMI.
Okay. So that's
the licensing company. That's how they get paid their royalty fees.
And do you think they'd have like a big contract with Spotify or other streaming services that would guarantee?
That is my question, because, like I said, in the modern era in which the majority of music is consumed via the internet electronic method, and the majority of that is people are able to not have to pay a fee for that. Is it, hey, we're adding this to our Apple playlist or whatever, and obviously they're going to pay a fee for it. And as you said, Casey, radio stations through ASCAP, BMI, et cetera.
Yeah, that's how I think they would make the majority of it, through the licensing fees. It is 9 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. A federal judge in Florida has ordered the U.S. Justice Department to file a redacted version of its affidavit in support of the FBI search of Donald Trump's house. The release of the affidavit is supposed to happen by noon today. As of this moment, it's still not out there yet.
Yeah, so if this comes out while we're on the air, we'll let you know. I have a sneaking suspicion you're going to get two things out of this document when it gets released today: Jack and a word that rhymes with quit, because it sounds like this judge is going to let them redact just about anything and everything, so you'll probably learn nothing.
Okay, well, let's talk about the big money transfer and how it's going to get paid. Of course, the White House is silent on how President Biden's decision to cancel between $10,000 and $20,000 in student debt will be paid over the long run, and whether it's going to drive tax bills higher for us, the average American.
So there's a new report out, and this is, again, the most government thing ever, and it was predictable as the sun is going to rise in the east and set in the west. Because at the time they said, well, it'll be $300 billion. And I said, no. We said this yesterday. No way. If you think about $10,000 for all these people who qualify, plus $20,000 on Pell Grants, and they got a thing that's going to cap it at 5% of monthly income, there's no way it's going to be $300 billion. And now a new report is out that's already saying, yeah, we were a little off on that. It's going to probably be more like $500 billion. But here's the thing, Casey, they don't know.
Yeah,
the government, they did it again. They passed this, or come out with this sweeping announcement, and then they cannot answer the nuts and bolts of the question, which is, okay, how much is this going to cost us as taxpayers? Well,
43 million times 10,000 equals what? Why would they know? Well, the White House press secretary was asked, and yeah, the answer was, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So you could say this is how much it's going to cost if everyone who is eligible applies.
I mean, we just don't have a number to share at this time.
Why don't you?
Look, the secretary, the former UN ambassador spoke to this yesterday. We just have to see. It is a process that we just need to take a look before we can answer that question. We just don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
So imagine your company that you work for to earn your living, and your boss comes out with this grandiose new idea for your company. We're going to do this major capital investment. Okay, boss, how much is this going to cost us? I don't know. This is why people loathe government, and should, because this crap would never, ever, 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 never happen or take place or be tolerated in the real world. And they do it, and they do it all the time, and they don't care at all. This is a legalized vote buying scheme. It is not about helping people. It is not about doing what's right. It is not about doing right by the American people. They don't even know how much it's going to cost.
So why would the president of the United States go on TV, announce a major plan that he promised to do, by the way? Remember, he told us he wanted to do this. But now she says, well, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Well, you've already said you're doing it.
And so they send Corinne Jean-Pierre out, who is just one of the dumbest people alive. And I don't know why they send her out there. I mean, I know why they picked her, and they were adamant about it. They picked her because she's a woman, she's black, and she's gay. I mean, their words, not ours. And she just does so much damage to this administration every time she opens her mouth. Listen to this. This is just absolute nonsensical gibberish word salad when a reporter had the audacity, Casey, to ask her about the flaws in canceling $10,000 of student loan debt.
I've said a couple of times that this is a fiscally responsible way of doing this. But can you explain a little bit about how you guys think it is fiscally responsible? Because you can't say how much it's going to cost. You can't say exactly how it's going to be paid for. And you can't say exactly who is paying for the cost. I get how you're arguing that it helps certain populations, but how is it fiscally responsible?
I mean, the way that we are talking about it and what we're trying to say is the actions that we have taken, and you see this with the way that the deficit has been reduced. We have taken just the last 19 months, and I see that look that you're giving me there.
Well, I hear the argument that you have taken previous fiscally responsible actions that give you more wiggle room to be
it gives us no. We see this. We do not see this as irresponsible.
It's just a bunch of word salad. She's taking lessons from Kamala Harris.
And even it was interesting, this press conference yesterday. Even the media was starting to get a little agitated with her because the very bare minimum of expectation, because then people can start agreeing, disagreeing, whatever is, here's what we're doing, here's who's going to benefit, here's the process, and here's how much it's going to cost society. And even the media is like, you guys aren't helping us help you, because the media, obviously, the mainstream national media, has a vested interest as an arm of the Democrat Party to help them succeed. And they're saying, look, you're not helping us help you when you can't even tell us how much this is going to cost.
You can't even get your own message straight. How are we supposed to report what you're saying, even if it's not true?
But wait, there's more.
Of course.
Follow-up.
Okay.
She gets asked, if you have no idea how much this will cost, then how can you begin to talk how it's going to be paid for? And her answer is just classic. Listen.
If you don't know how much it's going to cost, how can you guarantee that it's going to be paid for, even if you're defining paid for in a way that some of us have questions about?
Look, I think what I can tell you is that we have done the work to make sure that this is done in a fiscal responsible way, in a balanced way.
They've done the work.
How do you know? You don't know how much it's going to cost.
And just a moment ago, she said we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
81 million legal votes, Casey. 81 million legal votes.
Yeah, we're going to get into it even more later on. Ron DeSantis, of course, had some stuff to say about it. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
This is what's happening.
Man accused of killing Elwood police officer Noah Shanavez.
Standing here with the family. My name is Matt Shanavez, the state of Indiana. Noah's my firstborn son. Will be seeking the death penalty. My family misses Noah more than words can express.
The latest updates.
For the FBI to do what they did when clearly 50% of America strongly supports Donald Trump.
Stay current.
Taiwan has demonstrated incredible restraint.
The story continues on 93 WIBC.
Feeling offbeat? Franciscan Health's nationally recognized heart team can help keep the beat of your heart steady. If you've been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation or an irregular heartbeat, Franciscan's personalized approach to heart care can help you reduce your risk of stroke, heart failure, and other complications from AFib. So tune in, because the tempo of your heart matters. Find your heart's rhythm again by scheduling an appointment at franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm. That's franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Divorce touches all areas of your life. Family, friends, career, retirement. Few things in life affect so much. At Cordell & Cordell, we have a lot of experience protecting these interests for clients across America. In the process, we've come to know our clients pretty well. If you're a guy facing divorce, your chief concern, if you have kids, is to preserve your role in their lives. As to assets, you probably prefer tax-deferred savings over cash, and you likely would rather give up an asset than to pay maintenance. Also, lest you think we didn't notice, you want to pay as little to divorce lawyers as possible. Look, Cordell & Cordell can be successful only if our clients walk away feeling good about us. That means they feel not only that the result was the best possible in the circumstances, but also that their attorney fees were both reasonable and affordable. If this seems right to you, then let us be the partner that you count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Mortgage rates are down and home equity is up. If you've been thinking about a refinance, start online at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Oh, he's mean.
And Casey Daniels.
She's kind, she's humble.
On 93 WIBC.
The Indiana Debate Commission will host a live televised Senate debate in the fall's midterm election. So the debate's going to be held October 16th. It's going to include all three candidates on the ballot: Todd Young, Thomas McDermott, and James Seniak. And if you'd like to send questions in, you can. That's interesting. Do they always take questions?
Yes. Well, they have in the more recent debates. And in the gubernatorial debate in 2020, they did a pretty good job with those. Here is the only real question that matters. And if whoever is ultimately chosen to be the moderator of this debate is worth 7 cents, it will be one of the first questions they ask.
I know what question you want to know about.
And that question will be to the Duke of Spendingburg, Todd Young, who has voted to add $11 trillion, probably more than even that now, to the national debt in his 6 years in office, yet is out on a barnstorming tour lamenting government spending and lamenting inflation. And it will be a two-part question. A, does the spending you have voted to approve not count as government spending, the very spending you are lamenting? And two, has the $11 trillion you have voted to add to the national debt, Todd Young, not contributed to inflation? Is it just Democrat dollars voted to spend that add to inflation? I have no idea how this guy does not get asked this question every single place he goes. I have no idea how this guy does not get laughed out of whatever room he's into. But this is a perfect opportunity, a very fair question that is not a biased question, that is his voting record and what he's saying on the campaign trail. And let's find out how this guy does if someone will actually pin him down with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide and not a bunch of Republican glad-handers in a room with him, because I am fascinated to see how he tries to gaslight his way out of that one.
He is. He's on tour right now. He's going to gas stations and he's talking about inflation. He's been tweeting about it a lot, especially with the Inflation Reduction Act, almost like he forgot about the CHIPS Act, which he was the author of the bill.
Well, and that is a perfect follow-up question. You, sir, say you lament government spending. You just teamed up with, and you lament the Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, whatever phrase they give it, agenda spending. You just teamed up with these exact people and were at the White House for a bill signing with these people in which you added tens of billions of dollars to our nation's debt. And the moderator should not get off this topic. He is the incumbent. He has the voting record. The condition of the country right now is largely the responsibility of people like Todd Young and Bernie Sanders and all these incumbents. And this should happen in debates all over the country. You know, these key elections all over the country, whether it's New Mexico or it's North Carolina or, Georgia or wherever. All of these incumbents should not be able to pivot out of this. And whoever that moderator is has an obligation to pin this guy down, because he doesn't have anywhere to run unless he's going to turn the camera off or run from the podium. He's going to have to answer your questions.
He's got to stay there.
Yeah.
And he can't say, no, we're not recording here in the Stacks Pancake House.
Yeah, Igor can't save him this time.
Right.
And the other part is McDermott and Seniak also have an obligation to not let him get off of it. Every answer, you can answer whatever question you want when you get questions in that debate. every answer should somehow pivot back to Todd Young has voted to add $11 trillion to our nation's debt while in office. How does that not contribute to inflation and not let him? Man, I would be great in these debates.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because right now the format and the moderator has not been determined.
Here's what the libertarians ought to do. You know, in baseball, they say, you know, they have a pinch hitter. Timeout. We want this guy to go hit for one evening. Rob Kendall is going to be the pinch debater for James Siniak. Man, I could win the election for this guy.
Or lose it for or whoever.
He's a libertarian. He can't lose it anyway.
Okay, so would you want that job? Would you want to be moderator?
I would like to be moderator. You're not going to pick me as moderator because obviously I support one of the candidates and vehemently despise one of the other candidates.
You don't think you'd be fair?
But you don't need somebody like me. You need somebody who will ask the pertinent questions. And there are a list of pertinent questions. We've gone through one, what I think is the most important, because there is an incumbent office holder on the stage who has a voting record. And I think based on what's going on in this country, that's the most pertinent question. You don't need an ideologue. I heard Tony coming in this morning, like begging to be the moderator. And it's like, you don't need an opinion-based person to be the moderator. Nikki Kelly would be from Indiana Capital Chronicle, would be, phenomenal. Chris Davis, if you were to pick somebody from WIBC, would be phenomenal. You just need someone who will ask the common sense, relevant questions to these people. And again, the candidates can participate in this as well because every answer should pivot back to this guy's voting record.
It's almost like this $11 trillion doesn't increase inflation, but this over here does.
Make him explain it. And again, these debates, every 4 years, I'm so glad I got out of politics. But then when these debates come up, it's like, man, that'd be really fun. Man, that'd be so much fun, Casey, because the guy's got nowhere to run.
So the broadcast time is 7 o'clock. And again, it's going to be held on October 16th. It's going to be at the FYI studios, and the feed's going to be available for broadcast and live streaming all over the place. It'll be interesting to watch.
Well, if it's going to be at FYI, our friend Brandon Smith, who works for public broadcasting, he would be great too. You don't need, it doesn't have to be an opinion-based person or a hardcore conservative. It doesn't even matter if the person's liberal. There are common sense questions that people can ask, and if you just write down 8 to 10 common sense questions, you can have a spirited and passionate debate that everybody will walk out better informed.
And they have to answer.
Yes.
Unlike at the Stacks Pancake House.
I want Todd Young to give the same answer that he gave me in front of a room full of people at the Stacks Pancake House, where his evil assistant Igor prevented us from filming, which is that he regrets none of his votes. I want him to say, for the Paycheck Protection Program, what we call it yesterday, the article called it, the $100 billion fraud or whatever. I want Todd Young on statewide television to say, I have no regrets for voting for something that had $100 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse on it. I want him to say what he told me, which is he's never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever stopping in terms of spending money. I want him to tell the state this.
I don't know if that'll play out very well for him.
Well,
so
it would not serve Hoosiers well.
Right, he may not say that. It's 9:26. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
There's nothing more important than time. Time for you and time for family. If issues like high blood pressure or high cholesterol run in your family, make time for highly skilled heart care too. At Indiana University Health, you can book a same-day appointment with the state's most preferred provider of cardiovascular care. See a top cardiologist today, then get back to what's most important without skipping a beat. Visit iuhealth.org/heart to book your appointment today.
Sparkling diamonds, dazzling bracelets, earrings, and rings. Breathtaking rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Welcome to Barrington Jewels. From timeless designs to impeccable craftsmanship, the enduring beauty of Barrington Jewels shines through every creation. At Barrington Jewels, find respect and honest pricing, superior service, and accommodations. For birthdays, anniversaries, and just because. Find your treasure at Barrington Jewels, East 82nd in Indianapolis, and barringtonjewels.com.
Hammer and Nigel here for our friends at All-Star Roof, Siding, and More. If you think you may have any kind of wear or tear or damage to your roof, siding, or need new gutters, be proactive. All-Star installs gutters and gutter covers. Let All-Star show what they can do for you compared to the competition, and All-Star offers many different solutions for your gutters and gutter covers.
Tom Myers and All-Star Roofing, celebrating 25 years in the business, free inspections on your roof. All-Star is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, 0 ongoing complaints, and the owner of the company, Tom Myers, will come out to your house and he'll work with you if you need to meet with an insurance adjuster. I know this because I am a customer. I've seen Tom do it. All-Star Roof, Siding, and More. Give them a call right now. Have those gutters checked out. 317-522-6409 or go online to allstarroofingsiding.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Plan your fall stay in the Brown County woods with Hills of Brown Vacation Rentals. The stunning fall colors, beautiful views, and crisp fall air. Do some shopping in Nashville. Enjoy a hike or drive on the Brown County back roads. Then cozy up in a cabin rental through Hills of Brown Vacation Rentals. Cabins of all sizes, seclusion in the woods, or stay in Nashville near all the quaint shops. Many cabins with hot tubs and game rooms. Cabins are booking quickly at browncountylogcabins.com. browncountylogcabins.com.
This is Ryan Newman for Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives. I love my family, and I appreciate every moment we spend together. We've talked about some pretty tough stuff over the years, and one thing they know for sure is that I've signed up to be an organ donor. So the next time you're with your family, take a moment and let them know you love them, and be sure they know your decision to be an organ donor. You can learn more at donatelifeindiana.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How much taxpayers may be on the hook. Partly cloudy and 72 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The White House says President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan could cost $24 billion a year. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre made that assessment Thursday at night on CNN and said that assumes 75% of U.S. students take advantage of the plan. Earlier in the day, though, Jean-Pierre insisted that the plan would be fully paid for, but was unable to give an estimate of the total cost.
This was a campaign promise that the president made during the campaign back in 2020.
The plan offers $10,000 of student debt relief for those earning less than $125K a year. One COVID vaccine maker is suing the other of patent infringement. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Moderna says it has filed a lawsuit in Massachusetts as well as Germany against Pfizer and BioNTech, accusing the companies of copying Moderna's inventions and, quote, continuing to use them without permission. At issue is the mRNA technology used in making the vaccines. The Washington Post reports that Moderna isn't asking for Pfizer to stop using it, but instead to protect the platform that Moderna claims it pioneered, which could be crucial in the quest for future vaccines for HIV, the flu, and other diseases. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Now the stock report. We're in the green to start the day. The Dow is up 115 to 33,388. The Nasdaq up 23 to 13,179. And the S&P 500 is up 6 to 4,207. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Only one company that meets the gold standard in hair restoration and hair transplants. We Grow Hair Indy. Hey, it's Rob, and I'm here with Darren Andrews. Darren, people are coming from all over the world to We Grow Hair Indy to grow their hair back.
Hey Rob, it's great to be here. Yes, they are. And Rob, as you well know, we are very proud of the technology and the results of We Grow Hair Indy. We Grow Hair Indy is one of only 2 places in the entire US that offers both the Artist Robotic FUE and our trademark procedure, multi-unit hair grafting.
We Grow Hair Indy filled in my crown area and restored the hair on the top of my head. Call 888-724-5129 for a free evaluation. That's 888-724-5129 and grow your hair back. The one company that has the best technology and results. WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers, certified electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the U.S. Open due to travel restrictions into the United States. This is a result of being unvaccinated against COVID-19. He made the announcement yesterday morning, and he tweeted out, "Sadly, I will not be able to travel to New York this time for the U.S. Open." He said it's a price he's willing to pay.
This is so ridiculous, and I don't even like tennis. But I saw this story, and it's just a continuation of how nothing has or does or is going to continue to make any sense on how our government deals with, or governments across the world deal with COVID. So you've got the President of the United States and his wife as the latest, most high-profile example, because obviously there's many, many, many people it's happening to, who are fully vaccinated, who are fully boosted, who are very excited about their next boosting opportunity, who are contracting COVID and having symptoms of that COVID. And yet we continue to put up some sort of facade as though the vaccine helps or prevents COVID over any sort of long-term deal. Now, there is some evidence that in a very short term, of which the vaccine has long left the bodies of the majority of people, or the boost has long left the bodies of the majority of people. But in the short term, there is some benefit. There's evidence of that. But after that, every day we get more and more proof that this does little, if nothing, to prevent you from getting or spreading COVID. And yet we keep up this lie, Casey.
Well, there's even the mayor of D.C. just came out yesterday that kids aren't going to be able to return to the school if they're unvaccinated. However, they're not offering virtual learning either.
Well, it's really, it is, and it's happening all over this country. It is forced preferred behavior by government in which they're saying, okay, we're not going to threaten you at gunpoint to do it. But in this case, you can't earn a living to the best tennis player in the world, or you can't go back to school. So, yeah, you have the choice, but do you really have the choice?
Right. So this guy is ranked number 1 in the world. He's a 21-time major champion, but he said he's going to skip tournaments that require him to be vaccinated in order to play.
And he plays an outdoor sport, Casey. So who is he at risk of harming? We were told, now that outdoors is the key in the new updates, because everybody's wrong all the time on this, that outdoors is really the key. He plays an outdoor sport. No one has to be around him or interact with him that doesn't want to be around him or interact with him. And yet this is insanity at this point. But kudos to this guy, because he has missed a lot of money this year. He has done this on multiple tournaments. He's the best player in the world. He's missed multiple majors because of this. This dude is doing what needs to be done. This dude is saying, I believe firmly in this. I have a deeply held belief on this. And I am willing to make personal sacrifice to not comply with some nonsensical government bullcrap that doesn't actually keep anyone safe.
Yeah, he's sticking to his guns. He's got conviction. How about this solution? Head down to Mexico, slip through a chain link fence into the U.S., actually just wait to be shown in, get your new iPhone, get your health insurance, and play your little tennis heart out. You could do that. By the way, tickets for the U.S. Open, they range from $198 and go all the way up to $728, depending on where you sit in the Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I can think of, very few things would be more boring than going and sitting through an actual whole day of tennis matches. I've been pondering what would be less painful, being forced to stare at that wall all day or watch the tennis. But if you like that, aren't you a little upset
that your number 1 guy isn't there?
It is the equivalent of basically saying, like, in his prime, Tiger Woods will not be at the U.S. Open this year because he's not vaccinated. What is the point of going to the thing if the best player is not going to be there?
It's 9:37 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and in random, confused, likely accidental act of government accountability, Something's breaking out in the State House. Okay, so they're going to limit the ability of nameless, faceless, unaccountable bureaucrats to write laws. Rob, you're going to have to take the lead on this one.
Oh, this is
for
great.
Sure.
Well, I have experience with this, Casey, because once upon a time I was a valued state government employee. And so I can speak to experience how ridiculous this is. So there are a whole bunch. I think we did the math. Were you here when this? No, you were not here yet when this was going through the General Assembly. There's something like, and I think it was Jim Merritt that told me this, and Jim will correct me if I'm wrong, but there are something like 90,000 laws that are written by nameless, faceless bureaucrats, like things that affect what we can or cannot do in the state of Indiana that have never gone through the legislative process. And it happens at the federal level too, right? It's like agency interpretation. And this law basically said, look, this is ridiculous that we as the lawmakers have given over time these unelected people such power in this state to arbitrarily make up and write rules and regulations, and then they just become in the code and everybody just goes along with it. So what this they had passed a bill last year, which of course was vetoed by Holcomb because, heaven forbid there actually be any sort of government accountability with that guy. And he appoints all the agency heads, so he wasn't having any of the idea that the agency heads don't get to rule by fiat. So he vetoed it. Lack of government courage from our state legislature. They didn't override the veto. So now they've come up with this summer study committee, and they're moving forward with a bill next year that would strip these powers out, a whole bunch of these powers, because this is absolutely ridiculous that unaccountable people who are not elected get to write the laws.
Right.
Now, here's a real-world example of how this works. And this has been 7-ish years ago, so I'm doing this off the top of my head from memory. When I was the pharmacy board director, there was some deal, I think it was spice was the big thing at the time. And I've never done the spice. I've never done any illegal drugs, so I'm, again, doing this all from memory. They came to me and said, we have to do this emergency ruling on something with spice or bath salts or whatever. You have to write the law. The professional licensing agency came to me and said, you have to write this emergency ruling. And I said, and I used different words than I'm using here. I didn't use world. I used a word that started with F. I said, how in the world do I do that? And they said, well, that's part of your job. And I said, let me repeat. How in the world do I, as an unelected person, write a law? And they said, we'll give you a boiler template and just start, basically, you can just cross out
copy and paste and make it relevant to spice.
A different law and make it relevant to this.
Yeah.
And this was implemented and put in an emergency ruling, and the pharmacy board approved it, and it was, and I don't know if it still is, the law of the state of Indiana.
Oh, wow.
These are how laws get written in our state when you let nameless, faceless bureaucrats write these laws. It's completely ridiculous. Now, that was on an emergency basis, and I think it ultimately got voted on by the legislature. But some of these laws are able to stay in place for like 9 years, and they're saying, look, this is ridiculous. We have to limit the amount of time that these laws can remain laws. I had no business writing that. Now, I did that to the absolute best of my ability. Legislative Services signed off on it because I'm very brilliant, so I was able to figure it out. The pharmacy board signed off on it because I was very brilliant and was able to figure it out. But I had no business doing that. And I'm telling you, there's people all over the state who have no business writing laws that are doing things that become law.
Okay, so now they've got this study group, a task force that they've put together to put an end to that.
Yes.
Right?
And so they're coming up with recommendations.
Sounds like a good thing.
Where it's going to be, I think, House Bill 1100 was what it was, and we'll see next year what they come up with. But they must do something, because we see this on the federal level all the time, and it's high-profile things like the EPA and places like that. But it happens all over the place, where these unelected people get to tell 7 million plus people what to do, and that's ridiculous. Elected people are elected; they should be the ones telling the people what to do because they're accountable to the people.
Let's move on to California. They're doing something. They're poised to require all new cars, trucks, and SUVs sold within California to be powered by electricity or hydrogen by 2035. So within 10 years, no more gasoline vehicles sold in the state of California.
Casey, I'm going to ask you this because you are the reasonable person in this room. You just read that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feasibly function? How does that even feasibly implemented with any sort of reasonable level of not totally disrupting society? Like, how does that happen?
Well, they're going to have to build a whole lot of charging stations everywhere.
This is my point.
It's going to cost a lot of money to do that. And how can they tell you what you can and can't buy?
Great. So the answer is you don't have an answer on how you can reasonably enact this in a 10-year time plan without totally disrupting society.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
So we do have an audio clip here. Old greasy Gavin Newsom, who desperately wants to be president, spoke out about this, and he is very, very proud about his plans to disrupt society. Listen.
2 years ago, we took a risk. We came out front. I did an executive order saying in 2035, California was going to lead the way on alternative fuel vehicles. Tomorrow, the California Air Resources Board is going to codify that. We will be the first jurisdiction in the world to require all new cars to be sold to be alternative fuel cars.
So listen to what he said. Executive order and a board is going to codify it. There were some words that were missed out in there.
We just talked
about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. Executive order and a board is going to codify it. This is why what Indiana's doing right now, if they follow through on it, is super, super important, and they should have overrode Holcomb's veto last time. Because you have, again, nameless, faceless people who go home each night and are not accountable to anyone. You can't fire them. You can't beat them at the ballot box, making these life-altering decisions that are in many cases going to absolutely destroy society. And they're proud about it. Gavin Newsom is proud that he has walked through the back door to alter society.
So California right now has about 80,000 charging stations, and they want 250,000 by 2025 in 3 years.
And by the way, Casey, let's just remind everybody, how's the charging powered?
Well, that's part of it. They're saying that these cars have to be able to go 150 miles on one charge.
So, but how is the charging powered? How does the charge?
Oh, you mean you plug it in?
Yeah, and where does that come from?
That's from fossil
fuels.
fuels.
That's right. So you're using fossil fuels to power the cars.
Charge the car.
Huh.
Yeah. Currently, Tesla makes about 75% of all EV cars that are on the road. And I thought I had $1 million idea that anybody can take this. Somebody needs to make an app that lists all the charging stations everywhere, a map. And then I was told, well, Tesla offers that in their car. Well, what if you don't have a Tesla EV car? It's crazy stuff. It's 9:45. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hammer. Think my dad's passed out somewhere. So, coming up on Friday, the top stories of the day. Let's go. 93 WIBC.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. Sundown has a large selection of container and balled and burlap trees in stock, and they're 30% off through September 4th. Now's a great time to plant before we get late into the fall season. Find that perfect shade tree you always wanted or a wonderful ornamental tree to finish off your landscape beds. Follow Sundown Gardens on Facebook and Instagram. Lots of fall fun's coming to Sundown Gardens in the next few months. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Springville Road, sundowngardens.com.
Hey, it's Spencer Thompson from Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Lazy Boy shipments are back on track, so we're having our largest Lazy Boy sale ever, and it's not just Lazy Boy. Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern is 50% off with extra discounts for cash. Save big on Made in the USA Lazy Boy and Smith Brothers Furniture now through Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Interest-free financing and free delivery.
My name is Kayla Sinders, and I work for Gleaners Food Bank. I am a local service manager for 3 counties in our 21-county service area, and I nominated Katie.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My name is Katie Wilkerson. I pick up at the mobile food pantries. The best part of volunteering to hand someone some food and see the smile on their face, the relief. Without my vehicle, there's no way I'd be able to do this. To go to any of the pantries, it's at least 18 miles.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year. Whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies or drives somewhere to serve on site, Jiffy Lube supports local givers who count on their car to do more for Indy, and we love to hear their stories.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at jiffylubeindiana.com.
Man, I slept.
New ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep is made for people who are tired of being tired.
I've never slept like this before. I've never woken up like this before.
A melatonin-free sleep aid made with a botanical blend that contains clinically studied and effective valerian root, hops, and passion flower, shown to help promote better restorative sleep. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Restorative Herbal Sleep. Sleep this good, feel this good. Available at retailers near you.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Good morning. Our name is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. It is 9:49, and thank you for joining along today. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. We'd like to engage in the chat room. You can do that just by typing Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar. Okay, are you a good tipper? Apparently so. That's what a new report says, that despite inflation, people in Indiana are the best tippers in the country. How about that? We're generous. We're so generous.
This is pretty wild. So Indiana generally tips 21%, which is the highest in the country, ahead of West Virginia at 20.8, Ohio at 20.7, Delaware at 20.7, and Kentucky at 20.7. And this is according to the Department of Labor. And look, people have said this for years. Obviously, it's a saying, Hoosier hospitality. And I think that's true. I think Indiana, by and large, is, just look at our government. They're very generous with how much money they give away, and the people are also responding in kind. That's right about where I was always told, it should be 20% for good service. If you want to give a little more on top of that for great service, fine. It's good to know people are in the ballpark if they're getting good service.
It says that tips are up nearly 10%, and in-person dining tipping is up by 19%. Now, do you think that's because people are feeling bad for the wait staff and their low wages, or what they had been through during the pandemic, almost losing jobs?
Well, people are always willing to pay more for something that they can't get. And I think it's kind of opened some people's eyes to say, look, it's hard to get workers. People don't have to be here. If they're here trying so that you can eat, then you should reward them for that. Now, I do have a question for you, and this, I think, will be the question that sparks immense debate on this program. And so I'm telling you to gear up and get your Kevlar vest on before I ask you this question.
Okay.
Because I have heard both sides of this. I have heard this yes and no from people who work in the restaurant industry. By the way, WANE, which I believe is out of Fort Wayne, had the story on this. And I'm going to read this. The report also showed that diners were less likely to tip as much when ordering delivery or takeout, tipping an average of 14.5%. Now, like I said, I've heard both sides on this. If you order something if you order something from Applebee's and you say, I'll come in and get it.
Yeah.
And you get it, and you do all the work. Like they're not coming to your car, you're driving in, you're picking it up.
Right.
Should you have to tip on that? Oh. So you can let us know in this at Robin Kendall, at Casey Daniels 317 on various Twitter accounts as we engage in this conversation. Because I have heard from both sides of this from people who are in the restaurant industry, and I have heard no from people who work in that industry. Where do you come down on this? Because it makes sense. I'm doing all the work.
Right.
Somebody's just in the back making it. It's no different than going to an Arby's or a McDonald's. It's just a nicer version.
Wow. Well, when I sit in the restaurant, I'm normally a good tipper, 20% plus.
Yep.
If I go to the restaurant to pick it up, the scenario that you've mentioned,
yes.
Yeah, I don't tip.
Well, look, my wife told me this. This is why I don't do this, because I always felt better. She goes, and she worked before she is now a brilliant college graduate. But before that, she worked in the food service industry. She said, no, I never expected that. I didn't want people to do it. I wasn't doing any work. You don't have to tip. Because I was always like, should we just throw $1 on there? She said, no. She said, you're doing all the work. Now, if somebody comes to your car, if it's a drive-up thing, maybe it's a little different. But if you go in and are doing all the work and say, my name is, Fred Jones, and I'm here for my order. Do you tip at McDonald's?
Yeah.
Do you tip at Burger King?
No. Interesting. But what I will do, if I'm paying with a credit card when I go to pick up the food and they have the tip jar there and there's some singles and I have one available, yeah, I'll throw one in there. But what's interesting about this is if I order pizza to be delivered to my house,
yes,
I'll tip the driver.
Yeah. Well, that's the person bringing you the food.
Right.
Now, the scam in that is there's a delivery charge.
Already built in?
And they try to do that like that. In most cases, that's not going to the driver. That's going to the company. But no, you absolutely tip the pizza delivery guy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, there's also a thing, and this has been going on for 10 plus years now. Depending on the size party, they will include the tip already in the cost.
And
if you don't watch, you can double tip without even knowing it.
So I would be curious to know what people generally do when you go in and get your food from a restaurant like an Applebee's or a Chili's or any of the sit-down restaurants. Do you tip when you go in and do all the work yourself?
Are you expected to tip? Interesting.
At Robin Kendall on Twitter, at Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter, because I kind of understand the argument. Like I said, I've heard this from multiple people in the food service industry. You're doing all the work. What are we really doing? We don't expect to tip, and we're not offended or mad if you don't, because we didn't do anything else that you wouldn't get at a fast food restaurant.
You came in and picked it up. And isn't it interesting that with rising inflation, uncertainty with the economy, and everything else that's going on here in the great state of Indiana, we're still tipping, and that has not gone down.
And you absolutely, if you get good service at a restaurant, make sure to take care of those people.
Yeah.
Not just like what you have to do. Go above and beyond.
I do it to ensure that nothing weird has been done to my food. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
It's a grand slam of savings at Masters Heating and Cooling. Save $500 on a complete Carrier heating and air conditioning system, plus 10-year parts and labor warranty with special financing and zero money down with approved credit. Turn to the experts for utility and energy savings up to $1,490. It's a total incentive package of nearly $3,200. Upgrade with Masters Heating and Cooling today. Details online at mastersheatcool.com.
Masters.
Okay, here's a question for you. Is your car a boy or a girl? My car's a girl. However, the motorcycle's a boy. Regardless, doesn't your vehicle deserve a wonderful place to live? With the help from Galaxy Concrete Coatings, you can make their room spectacular. Call them today, 317-751-9070. That's 317-751-9070. It will make pulling into the garage an entirely new and awesome experience. It's Galaxy Concrete Coating. Find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
There's a lot depending on your heart, which is why Community Health Network has put the experts and technology in place to provide the most extensive cardiovascular care in your neighborhood. From preventive care to life-saving interventions, our numerous Indiana locations provide the right care for your needs. Because with every heart we save, we prevent another from breaking. To learn more, visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
At the Good Feet store, all it takes is a free fitting and test walk to see how our personally fit arch supports can help relieve foot, knee, hip, and back pain. Just listen to these real customers who found real relief at the Good Feet store. Customers like Rodney.
Some of my favorite things to do is just go on a long walk. But the more I walked, the more my feet hurt. And when I tried the arch supports on, I'm like, wow, I'm steadier. Made me forget about the pain.
And here's Anna, another Good Feet customer.
A ballet dancer's body goes through so much pain, and the pain was really bad in my knees, my ankles, even in my hips sometimes. And so my mom took me into Good Feet, and then that's when we got my arch supports. A week after I got them, all of a sudden the pain just went away.
Relief from foot, hip, knee, and back pain could be steps away. See for yourself with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store today. Your good life starts with Good Feet.
Don't just live with the pain. Discover your options at the Good Feet stores in Indy.
Feeling offbeat? Franciscan Health's nationally recognized heart team can help keep the beat of your heart steady. If you've been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation or an irregular heartbeat, Franciscan's personalized approach to heart care can help you reduce your risk of stroke, heart failure, and other complications from AFib. So tune in, because the tempo of your heart matters. Find your heart's rhythm again by scheduling an appointment at franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm. That's franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm.
As a parent, you want the best education for your child. Choose Marian University Preparatory School for the school year. Their faith-based online private school is currently enrolling students in grades 6 through 9. Your child will benefit from their personalized college prep curriculum and supportive community. Financial aid is available through the Indiana Choice Scholarship. To learn more about the unique educational experience of Marian University Preparatory School, visit k12.com/Marian. That's k12.com/MARIAN.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Chris Davis reports on Thursday's shooting death of a teenager in Greenwood and when you may know more about it. All that and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
It could come out any time. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The Justice Department has until noon Eastern to make public the affidavit used for a judge to approve the search warrant on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. It would contain information about probable cause for the search and possible crimes. We don't know yet what exactly we'll see. The judge is allowing some of the paperwork to be blacked out.
The judge stating in part, quote, he finds that the government has met its burden of showing that its proposed redactions are narrowly tailored to serve the government's legitimate interest in the integrity of the ongoing investigation and are the least onerous alternative to sealing the entire affidavit. The White House and Justice Department have fought to keep the document under seal, claiming a public release would compromise its investigation.
Fox's Brooks Singman. President Biden jumps into the midterm campaign with a rally in Maryland and takes on a heckler.
During a rally for the Democratic National Committee in Maryland Thursday, a heckler getting pointed criticism from President Biden. The man's outburst claiming President Biden stole the 2020 election met with boos and later this response from the president.
Ignorance knows no boundaries.
President Biden's appearance in the safe Democratic Washington suburb is a kickoff to what White House aides say will be an aggressive season of championing his policy wins and boosting Democrats ahead of the midterms. In Washington, Sean Langell, Fox News.
There's a report that inflation's going down.
The Commerce Department's Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index, an important inflation reading, rose 6.3% in the year ending in July, still at a 4-decade high. However, that was an improvement from the 6.8% rise in June.
That's Fox's Jenny Casola. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell gives a speech about inflation this hour in Wyoming. It'll be watch for indications about where interest rates are going. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 37 points. Home energy prices in Great Britain will be up 80% from last year in October, according to the country's energy regulator. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Wanting to know why? Sunny and 74 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. You are likely to learn more in the next hour or so about the shooting death of a teenager waiting for a bus Thursday morning. Chris Davis reports on the arrest.
All kids make bad decisions at one time, but he wasn't a bad kid. He don't deserve this.
The sound of a father's grief. Tamario Stokes was already on the ground when his mother ran out of the house and found him. He was 16. The man they arrested is 18. Tyreek Radford L. of Whiteland is in the Johnson County Jail on a preliminary charge of murder, says Johnson County Sheriff Dwayne Burgess. What happens now is in the hands of the Johnson County prosecutor. A news conference is scheduled for 11 this morning. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Several people in the Midwest have been sickened by an E. coli outbreak. 53 people in Ohio and 6 in Indiana. Health experts have not yet determined a source of the outbreak, but have noted that most of those affected reported eating Wendy's sandwiches containing romaine lettuce. Abortion may be a curveball in this year's election.
It's not like this straight, if you're a D, this is where you stand. If you're an R, that's where you stand. I think we're starting to see that this blurs some lines here.
Political scientist Andy Downs with Purdue Fort Wayne tells Indy Politics abortion can go either way with voters on either side of the aisle, as demonstrated in Kansas, a red state where voters chose to uphold access to abortion. A person killed in a crash on I-70 in Hancock County late Thursday night. Matt Baer reports on why the backup lasted a little bit longer than it should have.
All lanes reopened around 1:30 in the morning, according to NDOT, but drivers fell asleep from sitting there for so long. Crews actually had to go back and wake the drivers up. Now, right now, the traffic has mostly cleared out, but we still have a delay on eastbound 70 from Post Road to German Church Road. Hopefully, that'll be gone before too long. Learn more from the WIBC Traffic Center at WIBC Traffic.
Gas at $3.84 across the state today, says Gas Buddy. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get internet and security for just $60 a month when you add mobile, and save $480 your first year. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and autopay. New Comcast Business 250 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. 2-year agreement required. Equipment installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep all services for 12 months to receive discount. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most Root Metrics 5G data reliability wins in 2H 2021. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, August 26th. And what is trending this hour? Drew Barrymore. She recently posted a video of herself dancing in the rain, and now there's an argument that broke out. People are saying that she stole the trend from black creators. Also trending, Joe Rogan and Mark Zuckerberg. And we're going to get into that in just a few seconds here. Finally trending, Paul Pelosi's wrecked Porsche is up for auction. It's a 2021 Porsche 911 Carrera S. It is 6 minutes after 10. He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. We're glad you're here on this Friday. All right, let's get into this unbelievable audio from an exchange between Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast and also Mark Zuckerberg.
So, yeah, as you said, Zuckerberg is the new guest on Joe Rogan's latest episode. And this is how this is. Well, I know how it's not the lead news story on every outlet in the country, because the vast majority of news outlets are arms of the Democrat Party, and so they're not going to cover it. But this is absolutely unbelievable, one, that he said this out loud. And this is where we talked about this before. People who are in love with Rogan and fantasize that he's this phenomenal interviewer. He got one of the all-time bombshells just casually dropped in his lap. And the clip that I think is up on Twitter is like, maybe it's YouTube rather, is like, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. But he doesn't hardly push back on this at all. It's like, you just gave this, and I felt like he just like kind of went, oh, and then like asked a follow-up question, but it wasn't like, WTF did you just say? So in this clip, Zuckerberg, this relates to the Hunter Biden laptop story. Zuckerberg admits in this clip that the FBI came to him when right before the Hunter Biden laptop story broke and said, look, there's a whole bunch of Russian disinformation going out there. You guys remember what happened in 2016. You remember how you put the Russian disinformation out there. Basically said, you better be very careful because you better not do that again.
So the FBI is warning Facebook about propaganda and
a government entity acting in an official capacity went to Facebook, a private company, and warned them about what they should or should not be posting. And keep in mind, this was something that was proven completely true now. We now know it's completely true. And Zuckerberg admits the FBI came to pressure him. Now he says, and you'll hear this in the clip, Rogan asked him, well, was it specifically that? He says, no, it wasn't specifically that, but you know, you could put two and two together when this thing breaks right after they'd come to us. Listen to this.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. I mean, basically, the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
It basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So fewer people saw it than would have otherwise. So it definitely...
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But I mean, but basically, a lot of people were still able to share it. We got a lot of complaints that was the case. Obviously this is a hyper political issue. So depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement, they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically, but it basically fit the pattern.
We're done here in terms of considering the FBI a professional organization or legitimate or anything else. The FBI went to a private company, and if they did it to Facebook, they did it to Twitter too, on a story that is now been absolutely, without a doubt, 100% proven to be accurate, and pressured them not to allow, or in the case of Facebook, altering the ability for people to see this story.
And share it. Yeah.
This is why people like us, well, me, I never want to hold you accountable for my behavior, but people like me come on here and say, we are living in unprecedented times. Our government is a cabal, and nameless, faceless bureaucrats are working against and weaponizing themselves against the American people. There is no more debate about this. There is no more discussion about this. He said it, he being Mark Zuckerberg. The FBI pressured a private company on what they could or could not share, and they were 100% wrong, and he admits that later, that it was 100%, the thing was totally legit. And he said later, we got it wrong.
Well, both Zuckerberg and the Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, have both said that they regret that. But
they don't.
Well, they're saying it. But isn't it as incredible? He's saying the distribution was less, and Joe Rogan is so casual about it. By what percentage?
And now this, to piggyback off our next story, the Post Millennial has the story that whistleblowers have now come to Senator Ron Johnson, Senate Republican from Wisconsin, and have said that the FBI agent told agents to not investigate Hunter Biden's laptop for months, saying, and again, these are according to sources that Ron Johnson, United States Senator, has, and is totally lines up with what Zuckerberg just said, that the Bureau was, quote, not going to change the outcome of the election again.
Again.
So, and of course, the basis for that was Comey came out in 2016 and rightfully told the public, hey, there's more to these Hillary Clinton emails. Huma Abedin had them. Her husband is Anthony Weiner. We all know what the deal was with that. So not only were they not secured for Hillary, they weren't secured for Huma Abedin because Anthony Weiner had access to that computer. And people finally and rightfully said, thank you for this information. I think most of us were going to vote against her anyway, but we're done with the Clintons. And so what the FBI said, and it lines up with what Zuckerberg said, and it's lining up now with what these sources Ron Johnson has said, is that we screwed up and helped a Republican win by telling the truth once. We're not going to do it again.
Right. And the FBI management told the agents, you will not look at the Hunter Biden laptop, vowing they're not going to alter the 2020 election. I also want to go back to Zuckerberg really quick. I think it's interesting that in that interview with Joe Rogan, he was kind of doing but we weren't as bad as Twitter. Like, we may have lessened the distribution, but not as bad as the other guy.
And he admitted, I mean, out of there, not that it needs admitting, everybody knows it, but they manipulate what you can and cannot see. And he admits, they manipulate. Well, we didn't manipulate your ability to share it. What good does it do to share it if you manipulate people's ability to see it?
Yeah.
Again, it's amazing how if you just let it play out long enough, how often Trump is proven right. Big tech working in cahoots with the Department of Justice, law enforcement, whatever you want to call it, FBI, to alter the outcome of an election, and it was covered up and facilitated by the mainstream national media. Everything Trump said is right. They absolutely did it. They absolutely pressured these people. We are living in a banana frickin' republic at this point, Casey.
It's a lot of power to be in someone's hands. And it's in an algorithm's hands now. It's crazy. And you know what? Rogan, just let him talk. Just let him go. Just start talking, and it comes out.
Everybody's got their own interview style, but my point was there was no, pushback on the bull, on the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. It was like, you're just asking follow-up questions. Like, there's no pushback. There's no
shock and awe. No, oh my gosh, what? Say that again?
Yeah,
he was just so casual about it. Okay. All right, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
However you're getting around these days.
When you buy an electric vehicle, you go all the way across America on a single tank of gas.
Oh, wait. What?
You plug it in.
Plug in. Mornings and afternoons for Matt Bear traffic.
To be on time.
Eastbound 465 from Keystone Avenue.
That's what this will do that.
Fuel up on the latest information.
Closure of Allisonville Road to eastbound 4.
We never run out of juice.
It'll help getting around.
On 93 WIBC.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here in Indy is nothing short of amazing. Tony Katz here, and if you have joint pain, any joint pain, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics started with one clinic last year, but the demand has been so strong, they now have clinics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and more on the way. Modern advances in regenerative medicine allow these medical professionals to take the remarkable healing properties from your own body, concentrate them for maximum some power and put them directly into your aching joints so your damaged tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. So many people are living their best life again, pain-free, thanks to QC Kinetics. If you have pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, do not let them keep you on steroids, and don't believe surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. It's a totally free consultation. 463-235-7160. In Eagle Creek and Greenwood, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
The 9th Annual Indy Labor Fest is September 3rd on Monument Circle. An admission-free street festival with live music, beer from Sun King Brewing, food trucks, a kid zone, and most importantly, a chance to learn about lifelong career opportunities. Hosted by the labor unions of Central Indiana.
I'm Eric Yates with the National Air Traffic Controllers Association. Come celebrate organized labor's dedication and contributions throughout the Hoosier State. More information at indylaborfest.org. Union membership, community leadership.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
There's still time to get the backyard of your dreams. Book now with Indy Decorative Concrete, your backyard patio experts. IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Ron DeSantis on Thursday criticized President Biden's student loan handout. He said universities should be held accountable instead of the American taxpayer. He argued that Biden's actions would cause more inflation. He criticized the administration for not complementing the act with meaningful reform of universities. So let's get to the root of the problem, right? Which is subsidies, which is why tuition has been elevated by 500% over the past 30 years.
I watched this clip, and I will do this quite a bit, I admit. I watch Ron DeSantis, and I think, number one, he's so good. And two, like when you hear him blasting and talking about the need for accountability and taking on public education, in this case, it's higher public education. Mm-hmm. I look at him and I wonder how it is even possible that Ron DeSantis and Eric Holcomb can claim to be in the same party. Like, you look at how Ron DeSantis is tackling this issue. You look at how he's being out and being bold. Mm-hmm. You look at how he's taking on the teachers union. And then our governor goes and does a VIP meet and greet with the teachers union at the first of the year. And correct me if I'm wrong, Casey, I haven't heard him say boo on this.
I was going to say, he hasn't said anything.
Like, what does Eric Holcomb do all day? I mean, when he's not jettisoning off to hang out with the Bond villain Klaus Schwab over in Davos, or
is he even in the country right now?
Putting the state at risk by taking his state devices over to Taiwan. I mean, when he's not doing those things, what does he do all day? Does he sit around in his underwear and eat Cheetos? I mean, does he go kiss the ring finger at Lily? Like, what is a day like? Listen to this Ron DeSantis. I mean, God, I wish this guy were our governor. Listen.
It's very unfair, to have a truck driver have to pay back a loan from somebody that got like a PhD in gender studies. That's not fair. That's not right. And so, and then you also just have the fact, like, if you're going to talk about debt, then you should look at, okay, who has benefited the most from all this exorbitant debt that's been taken out over the last generation? It's the universities. They have bloated administrative budgets. They have all this, although in Florida, since I've been governor, no tuition increases at our state universities. We haven't allowed that. Because all it does is they plow it in, and they will expand like the DEI office or something else like that, and it has no real impact on the quality of the education when they're raising the tuition. It just creates more administrative bloat, and that's been going on.
Yeah.
And he went on for another minute, and we didn't have time to play all of it, but it's just, you just hear this guy and the leadership and being upfront and being passionate about things, and you look at our own governor and say, that could have been you, dude. Like, Ron DeSantis has not done anything groundbreaking. He hasn't some incredible tax reform or whatever. He's just like common sense. Let people live their lives, and we're not going to tolerate radical government bullcrap. And he is the one of two frontrunners for the Republican nomination for president. That's it. He barely won his first election. This could have been our governor.
But once he got in there, he's making some sense, isn't he?
I don't understand. I mean, these two things do not compute, how these two people can claim to be in the same party.
They both have an R after their name. By the way, I read something that said that these loan transfers could take between 4 and 10 years for the taxpayers to take care of.
Well, this is the question, right? And some people have asked, and look, this is going to go to court, and we're going to play some, maybe next segment we'll play some clips about this, that it's going to end up in court, so it may not go through at all. It shouldn't go through, but who knows? And they don't know. They don't even know how much it's going to cost, Casey. They have no idea.
Right.
Can we talk about Meghan Markle for a second?
I'm surprised that you want to.
Well, I'm going to ask the question again. Who are the people who listen to this woman? If you are one of these people, identify yourself at Robin Kendall or at Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter.
Raise your hand.
Because she was at best what? And you're more in tune to the pop culture than I am. Would you describe her at best a B actress? Was she even that?
No, I wouldn't.
C?
Yeah.
C actress?
Maybe. D,
and so just based on who you married, I mean, it wasn't like Meghan Markle is going to be at the local Applebee's signing autographs and there would be a line out the door. And yet now...
She's got the #1 podcast.
Based on who you married, like what? She didn't get any smarter based on who you're sleeping with and who you married. Now suddenly everyone wants to consume you. I must be missing something here, Casey.
Yeah, she dethroned Joe Rogan as the most popular podcast. And I think the only answer that I have for you, Rob, is that people are curious because that's it. How did this woman land a prince and make him turn his back on his birthright and leave his home country, right?
Is that the question? Is what goods are, how good are your goods that you could make all of this happen? Is that the intrigue? How good are your goods?
Well, do you think it has to do with her guest? Her first guest was Serena Williams. It was a 57-minute long episode.
Oh, okay.
So are people more interested to hear what Serena Williams had to say than Meghan Markle?
Okay, so here, this is a great question. If let's say Serena Williams does an interview on ESPN, which is a logical outlet for her to do an interview.
Sure.
Is that going to like break, the bank in terms of how many people want to consume another Serena Williams interview on ESPN?
Yeah.
It's clearly not the guest. There's clearly some. Now, what was interesting, the Daily Mail had the article about this saying she passed Rogan, but the reviews are awful from a whole bunch of people.
I listened to a few seconds of it. And
why did you do that to yourself?
Well, because, like I said, I was curious. And then as soon as she started talking, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. It sounded very much like her Oprah Winfrey interview that she did a while back. But for her to be #1, have the #1 podcast right now, I think that's actually a bad sign for her because she has nowhere to go but down at this point.
Well, you know how I am. I believe the universe should work itself out. And just like with the student loan thing, this woman is a talentless hag. And the idea that people who have worked their asses off in this field or her field or whatever you want to call it for years and years and years and have 30 times the talent in their pinky that she has in her whole body, and they will toil and suffer and never get ahead. And this woman has all this based on who she's sleeping with. I mean, that is not the world working itself out.
Yeah, well, she did reveal quite a few bombshells during the hour-long podcast, and I caught myself wondering if they were true.
like making things up to get people to listen.
Yeah. Well, she said at one point that she barely escaped a room that was on fire.
Oh.
And I thought, gosh, I don't recall ever seeing anything even remotely close to that ever in any news outlet anywhere. So I don't know. I'm not saying she's fabricating it, but, that wouldn't surprise me either. It's 10:27. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Sparkling diamonds, dazzling bracelets, earrings, and rings. Breathtaking rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. Welcome to Barrington Jewels. From timeless designs to impeccable craftsmanship, the enduring beauty of Barrington Jewels shines through every creation. At Barrington Jewels, find respect and honest pricing, superior service and accommodations. For birthdays, anniversaries, and just because. Find your treasure at Barrington Jewels, East 82nd in Indianapolis, and barringtonjewels.com.
Getting mauled by the bears in the stock market? What about a looming recession? Is it giving you a sinking feeling about your retirement? Well, working with an Edelman Financial Engine's wealth planner can give you confidence no matter what the markets are up to. Right now, when you call 833-PLAN-EFE or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com, you'll get a complimentary retirement review and financial plan. With all that's happening in the markets and the economy, the offer comes at a perfect time. Your experienced Edelman Financial Engine's wealth planner will suggest a portfolio using our investment management approach that's based on Nobel Prize-winning research. Don't miss out. Call 833-PLAN-EFE by Tuesday, 10 p.m. for this complimentary offer. That's 833-PLAN-EFE or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com. That's EdelmanFinancialEngines.com.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
Our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash-out refinance. And I can structure that loan where you can miss a few months of mortgage payments. TheHomeLoanExpert.com.
Marian University Preparatory School is a faith-based online private school currently enrolling grades 6 to 9. Financial aid is available. Visit K12.com/Marian, K12.com/MARIAN.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Going public. It's sunny and 76 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. The affidavit the FBI used to get a search warrant for former President Trump's Florida home should be public by the time most Americans grab lunch today. A federal judge has ordered the Justice Department to release a redacted affidavit by noon Eastern Time today. It'll be redacted because the judge ruled that the Justice Department has proved that parts of it should be kept under wraps.
Judge Bruce Reinhart found that the government, quote, met its burden of showing its proposed redactions are narrowly tailored to serve the government's legitimate interest in the integrity of the ongoing investigation and are the least onerous alternative to sealing the entire affidavit. So we could learn the probable cause behind the unprecedented raid on former President Trump's residence.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff. Are you down with the plan to forgive some federal student loan debt?
I'm hoping I qualify. I owe about $65,000. Obviously, as a borrower, it feels good. I like it, but I'm aware of how it seems to people.
Taxes, probably prices are going to get higher because of that.
You go to school, you pay your own way. We don't need the government. Do it yourself.
I'm Kurt Darling on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Betsy DeVos from the Department of Education calls Biden's student loan forgiveness 100% illegal. This was after she concluded that Trump didn't have the authority to cancel debt when he was in office. But of course, Biden wants to cancel about $10,000 of student loans and extend the student loan payment pause for the 7th time.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, Casey. The whole suspension of the student loan debt was ridiculous. And the reason is Ethan, our friend Ethan, who does Saturday Night on the Circle, has laid out, he owns several properties, and he was a landlord.
Yeah.
When they suspended the rent payment, Ethan's loan to the bank wasn't suspended. His company, he didn't get to go, you don't have to make those payments anymore. The utility bills, he didn't get to suspend those. So once again, it's another example of the government just picking and choosing who is going to be the winner and who is going to be the loser. And so this whole thing is so utterly ridiculous. And you just heard on the WIBC newscast, I think more people are way against this than are way for it. Because I think a lot of people have caught on to say, we should not be paying for someone else's personal choice.
Okay, and that's a thing that I wanted to touch on briefly. They keep calling it student loan debt forgiveness. Okay, the word forgive is what you offer someone when they've made a mistake or betrayed you.
Right. And as the taxpayer who's paying for this, I don't forgive it. Hammer, Nigel and I talked about this yesterday on Off the Rails. I made a choice, and people that I went to school with made a choice. And there was no right or wrong choice. We made different choices based on what we were willing to give up in the moment for what we would gain later. That is life 101, right? Like you make a choice, and the choice usually is how much fun do you want in the short term versus how much relief do you want in the long term? So I made a choice and they made a choice. My choice was I will take longer to get through school, I will have less fun in college, and I will work a full-time job. So it takes me 6 years to get out, but I will graduate with no debt and I will pay cash the entire way. I didn't expect a hug from anyone. I didn't expect someone to shoot off fireworks in my honor. I didn't expect a parade for being fiscally responsible. But the benefit for me compared to my contemporaries or students I went to school with was I will be able to enter the world and not have to worry about this. You are buying more fun and relief in the beginning, and then you will have a burden I will not have. Well, now what they've said is those people get all the benefit, and you people who did it the right way, or you as a parent who did it the right way for your kid, you get nothing. You get screwed. You did it the right way, which is now the wrong way apparently, and freebies for everyone. And by the way, it is disgusting to say that someone who makes $123,000 a year needs help paying their student loans.
But they're going to be forgiven for their choice.
When I was in the auditor's office, one of the things that I did on my various times there was I spent some time in the garnishments division because state auditor does part of that for state employees. And I once saw someone who had a student loan debt of $88,000, Casey.
Wow. Where'd they go to school?
They went for a long time was what I deciphered. And we were, and it's so funny because they act like, $10,000, that'll make all the difference. Whether that person owed $78,000 or $88,000 is going to make no difference in their existence or anything else. You know who it is going to make a difference in? My existence. One, because it's wrong, because I'm being punished for doing things the right way. And two, you're making everything cost more for me so that this person who, dude, if you chalked up $88,000 of student loan debt, you got something serious going on there. A big case of lazy 19 and not working and seemingly no path in life. So I'm getting screwed so that $88,000 student loan person can feel better about themselves.
Yeah, going to cost you more in taxes, but also eventually future generations are most likely going to be paying more for their tuition, because what's going to happen now, these loans are being forgiven, which means the universities aren't going to get their money. So what are they going to do? They're just going to pass it on to future students by raising tuition.
Yeah, we bring all this full circle because this is another example of the complete and utter hypocrisy of people who represent us, and how we talk about all the time about how it is tribalism, it is team sport, it is no matter what these people say days or months ago, they will change it on a dime, and there is absolutely no recourse for what they do. And this is a great example. And this is why the country is in the position it is in, is because people like Nancy Pelosi, and look, Kevin McCarthy ain't going to be no better when he gets in there, are willing to just do or say anything. They have no shame whatsoever. So these two things are 4 months apart, Casey. The first clip we're going to play you is Nancy Pelosi in April of this year. Listen.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward, right? There's no, oh boy, that was really open for interpretation. He can't do it, and he shouldn't do it, and it's only Congress can do it. Okay, that was April of this year.
Yep.
We're not talking like that was 1985.
No.
That was April of this year.
Yeah.
Here is, and then fast forward to Nancy Pelosi today.
Yeah, she tweeted out on the 24th, just 2 days ago.
Yes. At POTUS, bold action is a strong step in Democrats' fight to expand access to higher education. By delivering historic targeted student debt relief to millions of borrowers, more working families will be able to meet their kitchen table needs as they recover from the pandemic. So in 4 months, the Speaker of the House, the number 3 person in the entire United States government, the person who controls the money, the person who's supposed to be a check and balance on the president, regardless of party, that's why the government is set up the way it's set up, goes from, he absolutely cannot do that, only we can do that, which is 100% accurate, to great move.
Right. Well, and then she says, meet the kitchen table needs as they recover from the pandemic. Okay, you cannot use this as a whiteout for everything. These loans could have been taken out 5 years ago before anyone even heard of COVID-19. Has nothing to do with a pandemic.
And it comes back to our old pal, our amigo, our friend, our old buddy down there in Seymour, Jim Lucas. And in that Dickens novel he wrote to me yesterday when it was revealed that he had taken $94,000, I'm trying to do the math in my head, or I think it's something like $94,600 from the federal government in PPP loans. And when I asked him, of course, he can never just say, yes, I did it, and I'm a complete hypocrite. He wrote a Dickens novel in response. And one of the things he said in there was that the federal government shut down society or something to that effect. The federal government did not shut anything down. This is why it's ridiculous that the federal government is canceling student loan debt. The federal government did not close one thing down. You know who did? Governors, mayors, which is why I had been begging for people like Jim Lucas to get his ass off Facebook and do something to stop the governor, which he is as a lawmaker. This is this myth, right, that COVID appeared and society just closed its doors. The government closed the doors on society, and it was not the federal government that did it.
Well, we also have audio. Do we have this, Kevin? It's Representative Nancy Mace. She's from South Carolina. She was slamming the Biden administration for their student loan debt transfer, arguing that it's not lawful.
No, it's not at all. And where's the focus on vocations? We have millions of Americans across the country who are struggling for work, who are struggling to get their children educated so they can get a good job when they graduate from high school. Many Americans can't afford to go to college because taxpayers have subsidized college and thus prices have gone up. That's where our focus really should be in this country, and it's just not.
Do you think this will end up in the courts, to your earlier point?
I think it has to. I don't think there's any way that you can have the President of the United States intervene in contracts for loan repayments. That's not a possibility. The left and Democrats have said so in the past, as recently as last year. And I do think this will end up as a case in court and could go as high as the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. I have no idea how, unless they just get a rogue judge that is just dead set on letting that happen, that, it's not a grant. There's a very specific difference between a grant and a loan. This was not free money. Mm-hmm. It was money you were supposed to pay back. Mm-hmm. You made the deal. I didn't make the deal. I worked hard. You saved for your kid to go to college. We are being punished for doing things the right way, and that seems to happen more and more and more and more in our society.
I feel like I need to be forgiven for my mortgage.
Well, great question, right? Like it'd be one thing.
I made a bad decision. Help me.
And by the way, didn't we try? Oh, everybody's going to get $5,000. How did that work out? What is? We'd learn nothing.
It's a circle. Let's get to this Biden clip because it is what it is. Yeah, we didn't talk about this yesterday. It's too bad that people can't actually see the video because he has crazy eyes again.
So he is doing the thing where he is squinting. Like the best example of this was if you have ever seen. And we love the elderly people, but if you've ever seen an elderly person with eyesight issues at a fast food restaurant trying to read the menu, where they will get right up to the counter and peer and, appear confused and they're talking slowly because they're trying to order as they're trying to read. This is what Biden looked like as he's saying this nonsensical gibberish where he struggles to give a website and he uses a bunch of words that don't go together.
It's from the what in the hell is he talking about category.
So my message to all servants, all public servants, all those who are the ones that are volunteering is out with student debt. To go. Here's what you want. If you're worried about how to do it, go to pslf.gov before October 31st to see if you qualify for public service student loan forgiveness.
Does he even know what he's talking about?
This is the guy that crafted a $500 billion economic plan.
Yeah. Can he just go back on vacation?
You should feel very good about the shape of the country right now, Casey.
I feel like he goes to Delaware, he sits on the beach, thinks of ways he can come back to Washington, open up the checkbook, and then he leaves again.
Absolutely.
It reminds me, I don't know if when you were little you did this, but it reminds me of when Grandpa would say, okay, if you can correctly come up with the amount of change in my pocket, you can keep it. We've got Hammer up next. Today's weigh-in day.
Yeah, let's find out how fat Hammer is.
Okay, that's on the way from 93 WIBC.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hammer. Think my dad's passed out somewhere, so coming up on Friday, the top stories of the day. Let's go. 93 WIBC.
The staff is super. Installation was done in as little as a day, and that's what Eric said. David said Galaxy Concrete Coatings did exactly what they said they were going to do. Well, those are some good reviews. If you'd like to check out Galaxy Concrete Coatings, you can. They're online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Call them for a quote today because getting a new floor is not as expensive as you might think. 317-751-9070. 317-751-9070. Whether it's your garage, a driveway, a walkway, around the pool, the patio, they'll take care of you.
2022 is the year for that diamond upgrade. Time to go from a 1 carat to a 2 carat, or a 2 carat up to a 4 or 5 carat. It's true, going bigger is in, but that doesn't mean you have to overpay or compromise on quality. Diamonds Direct is your best destination for large, unique, and rare diamonds. These are exquisite, hand-picked precious diamonds from 2 carats to 20 carats, in all shapes, independently graded by the GIA. These diamonds have all been chosen for maximum brilliance. Best part, Diamonds Direct's stunning large diamonds are sourced from the best ethical diamond cutters around the globe, purchased exclusively for our showroom, and free from any broker or middleman upcharges. This means you can go bigger with the confidence that you're getting the highest quality at the best possible price nationwide. You see, at Diamonds Direct, we're more than just another jewelry store. We're the nation's true diamond experts with unrivaled selection, uncompromising standards, and unbeatable value. Let us prove it today with your diamond upgrade. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. DiamondsDirect.com.
Old National Bank is asking businesses to get old. But first, they have questions.
Who runs my business if I get old?
You do. You can get old and remain young.
Is that possible?
With a commercial bank as good as Old National, yes.
What will it feel like to get old?
Well, business owners describe a feeling of euphoria, having local decision-making and committed relationship bankers.
Okay, one old guy coming up.
Introducing Old National Bank, where business relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC.
My name is Megan Davis, and I am the Director of Training and Communications here at the Humane Society for Hamilton County. We nominated Trudy because she truly embodies our mission and message of whatever it takes.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Jennifer Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are rewarding Hoosier volunteers who use their vehicle to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
I think what the most important thing to me is when we get dogs in that are so scared, I just love to take these dogs under my wing. I need my vehicle to be in top shape because I'm driving here 6 days a week.
Each month, Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides a volunteer free vehicle maintenance for a year, whether it's someone who delivers smiles and supplies or drives somewhere to serve on site. Jiffy Lube supports local givers who count on their car to do more for Indy, and we love to hear their stories.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
Here's Terry Stacy to tell you what's going on with WIBC.
Make sure you follow WIBC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for your chance to win tickets, other prizes, and stay up to date on the most current news in Indy. Check out our website to see where the next Home and Garden Show on the road will be. Live every Saturday starting at 9 a.m. You don't want to miss it. Be sure to tune in to Pat, Denny, and the gang on 93 WIBC.
Grab more info online at WIBC.com.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
Good morning, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and coming up at 11 o'clock, we are going to turn things over for a presser that's being held in Greenwood in regards to the child who was shot at the bus stop. So we will do that. But we've got Hammer in the studio, and guess what?
What's up?
It's time for you to get on a scale, buddy.
It is. We're getting close to the finish line here. We started this little weight loss journey at 264.4. Now, that's what the kids would say, grossly obese.
Yeah, you were a heavy fella.
I was. And I saw myself on television, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to be the fat guy on TV anymore.
Yeah, you weren't like Jared from Subway big, but
No.
you were like, you were heavy.
Right, I was getting there. So each week we come in here, I step on a scale. If I beat my previous week's total, survive in advance. I get a golf clap and everybody feels good about themselves.
Yeah.
If I don't, if I gain weight, I have to put $5 in a virtual pot as a penalty, which goes to Rob Kendall.
Now, to put this in perspective, I weigh 160-ish pounds. And when you started, you were more than 100 pounds heavier than me.
Correct.
And now you're only 50, well, as of last week, 58 pounds heavier than me. And I don't feel like I can lose that much more weight, but I don't want you to be anywhere near as skinny and as well put together as I am. So I don't know what to do.
Well, I told you both. I gain weight quickly and I lose it quickly.
Because you did this once before, the 50 pounds.
Right. And then I celebrated by gaining it all back.
Yeah.
So you said yesterday you were going to work out last night. You were going to work out this morning.
That's
and
correct.
Take care of business. Did check.
2 checks, no business this morning.
Okay.
I was a little concerned that there was no business this morning, but
there's nothing better in a feeling as when you've done a good business.
Right. You come walking out of that bathroom, you're doing that strut like Vince McMahon used to do when he walks into the ring, the billionaire strut.
You're lighter, you know all the stuff you've consumed. Yeah, and I don't mean to go into detail, but anyway.
All right, serious question. Raise your hand if you've done this. Kevin, I want you to participate too. Have you ever weighed yourself before and after a number 2?
Oh, yeah.
Casey's raising her hand. All right.
Yeah. I've done it.
Oh, yeah. And I will do it if you got a large, highly filled bladder, too. Sometimes it'll be fun to see how much weight you've lost.
I told Rob yesterday, you brought the cupcakes in, and he said, have one, Casey. And I said, no, I'm 3 pounds away from having to lose 10 pounds.
Okay. I see what you're going for there.
All right,
Small
you ready?
Ice, right?
Let's do it. Last week we were 217.8. This week, I've had some homemade Mexican food. I had a few cupcakes for the birthday, so let's see what happens.
All right, here we go. Hamler getting up, now walking over to the scale, no longer waddling. No longer worried the scale is going to break when he gets on there.
Okay.
Again?
Woo! It was close.
Really?
It was close. Last week, we were 217.8. This weekend, 216.6.
I mean, you could basically starve yourself to victory next week. I mean, if you're willing to really get down to brass tacks.
Dude, closing this thing out is tough.
The last 10 pounds are always the hardest.
It's tough because, again, my son had a birthday this week, so we had cupcakes and we had food. And there was one night where I was just freaking tired and I ate like after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And eating after 10 o'clock is not ideal if you're trying to lose a bunch of weight.
No, that's a big part of it. Congratulations. I mean, what am I going to do with $20? I can't even get the 2 for $24 anymore.
You might have to throw in a few of your own dollars.
Well, and
how many Brutuses can you get for $20?
Boy, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been drinking at Applebee's. You know, I quit drinking out in public because, it's just people want to come up and get autographs and things like that. It's just been terrible for me.
And then you treat them like Shooter and Hoosiers, wandering on the floor, reeking of booze. My God, that's Rob Kendall.
Get that bozo with the glasses.
Do you feel thinner? Like, can you feel it?
My clothes fit a lot better. Last time I had to do a national TV kind of thing, I had a shirt on that I couldn't fit a year ago.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
So that's a good feeling. But I feel better. I sleep the same. I just work out more.
Let's talk about something else that you've got going on. Tomorrow's a big day for you. Your television show is back.
It's back. Season 2 of All Indiana Bets, Indy's premier sports betting television show. I believe it may be Indy's only sports betting television
Probably
show.
right.
But damn it, we do better than anybody else.
You're number one.
We're number one. Myself, Scott Long, friend of the show, comedian extraordinaire. He's so good at what he does. And we kind of go head to head on
You mean
our
telling
picks.
93-minute stories on a 60-minute television show?
We've had that conversation. I think he'll be a little more quick to the joke this time around, this season. And Danielle McConnell steps in as our female point of hosting this year.
You had like 9 hosts last year on the radio.
Yeah. There was one host that is no longer there. There was another lovely young lady that I've known for a long time, Rachel, from the casino in Shelbyville. She was filling in, but boom goes the dynamite. She got pregnant, and she had to pop out a shorty.
And then you had a guy on there with you for a while, and then you were by yourself for a while. And I think the time you and I did it together, one of the times that we were by ourselves, I think.
Yeah. So whoever's with Scott and I, you're going to have a good time tomorrow. And I tell you what, Scott and I both had winning records last year.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I think Scott's was more amazing than yours because you're supposed to know this stuff, right? Like, you live it. He's the comedian.
But he's into it,
Oh,
though.
yeah. Well, he got on a roll last year with one of them. Was it college football or NFL football?
College football, his long shot, which is an underdog. He was picking amazing winners. He had like an 11-game win streak, and some of these teams won outright. So think about all the money you made betting on these long shot underdogs with Scott.
So it's tomorrow morning,
11 to noon on Wish TV. And I've been told the streaming will be good. So if you don't have Wish TV,
thank you.
You can stream the show on the website, on your phone, whatever it is.
And then next week is it next week you'll finally have NFL picks?
Well, we'll preview week 1. The NFL's real week 1 doesn't start until that Sunday, September 11th.
I mean, your show will be on Sunday coming up here pretty soon too, right?
Yes,
It'll be Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. That NFL Sunday, we're back with 2 shows on the weekend. And don't forget the radio program, You Bet with Bet Rivers. Next Thursday, we've got big-time college football games to talk about. Ball State and Tennessee, Purdue, Penn State. We got some good games on the docket.
And I'm excited for you to find some obscure school in southwest New Mexico for your Degenerate Special each week.
That is the fan favorite segment, the Degenerate Special.
What's coming up this afternoon?
So we're going to take a look at this redacted report from the Department of Justice. Is this anything? We'll play a version with that. And the coach, Dan Dockich, will join us as well.
All right, thanks, Hammer, and congratulations on the weight loss.
Thank you.
Again, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. Sundown has a large selection of container and balled and burlap trees in stock, and they're 30% off through September 4th. Now's a great time to plant before we get late into the fall season. Find that perfect shade tree you always wanted or a wonderful ornamental tree to finish off your landscape beds. Follow Sundown Gardens on Facebook and Instagram. Lots of fall fun's coming to Sundown Gardens in the next few months. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
At Franciscan Health, we're inspired by what moves you and how you move through life. So if you're suffering from joint pain and want to get back to an active lifestyle, Franciscan Health Mooresville and Carmel, home to the Center for Hip and Knee Surgery, is your best move. Our world-renowned orthopedic surgeons offer the latest advancements in total joint replacement, including outpatient surgery. If you're ready to get moving with less pain, request an appointment at centerforhipandkneesurgery.org.
There is a lot depending on your heart. That's why we've put the experts and technology in place to provide the most advanced cardiology care in your neighborhood. From preventive care to life-saving interventions, Community Hospital Anderson provides the right care for your needs. With every heart we save, we prevent another from breaking. To learn more, visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box, all for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible gateway.
Your home is your sanctuary, and the first step to peace of mind is controlling your power with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer, Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808.
Your one blood donation can help save the lives of up to 3 people. Give blood through the American Red Cross to help hospital patients. Visit redcrossblood.org today.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a press conference expected at any moment soon on the shooting in Greenwood. Plus, a long sentence for a man convicted of killing a bouncer in Broad Ripple in 2019. And a dating scam on the elderly. Harrison Silcox reports. That and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. More interest rate hikes. I'm Chris Foster. We don't know when or how much, but Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, in a speech in Wyoming this morning, says the central bank needs to keep fighting inflation by raising interest rates for a while longer.
He says restoring price stability will take some time, and we must keep at it until the job's done. Powell also says there will be some pain to households, and the labor market will soften as the Fed fights inflation. He says labor markets are particularly strong but out of balance. Powell cited recent numbers indicating a slight retreat in inflation in July, but says a single month's improvement falls far short. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow's down 430 points. Any minute now, sometime before noon Eastern, the Justice Department's ordered to release the affidavit used to get the search warrant on former President Trump's Florida home with parts blacked out. Fox's David Spunt.
Don't expect it to be the affidavit we all want to see that has detail after detail about why the feds went into the home of a former U.S. president. This affidavit would have that detail in theory, but the version we'll see will include Department of Justice redactions. Judge Bruce Reinhart from Florida wrote yesterday in his order, I find the government has met its burden of showing a compelling reason, good cause to seal portions of the affidavit because disclosure would reveal the identities of witnesses, law enforcement agents, and uncharged parties.
And Trump's back on social media this morning, calling the Justice Department and FBI hacks and thugs. The Secret Service reports the recovery of another $286 million in fraudulent pandemic-related loans, working with the online bank Green Dot to identify 15,000 accounts held by people submitting loan applications with fake or stolen employment or personal information. A woman in Alabama found out her mobile home was on fire, rushed in to save her 10-month-old boy, but lost two other sons, 4 and 2 years old. She'd gone next door when the fire broke out. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
You'll know more here soon. Sunny and 77 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Police in Greenwood will have an update in a press conference in just a matter of moments on the teenager shot and killed on Thursday, and that they say have a person in custody preliminarily charged with murder. And with that, we go live now to the press conference.
Officers arrived, located a 16-year-old male who had been shot multiple times on the ground in the intersection. Officers attempted life-saving measures but were unsuccessful, and that 16-year-old male was pronounced deceased at the scene by paramedics. Witnesses informed officers that the suspect fled between houses and ran south through the neighborhood toward a cornfield. Approximately 3 hours into the incident, officers on the perimeter observed a suspect, or a person matching the description of a suspect, walking near the cornfield where he was seen to be entering and into a backyard on Declaration Drive. Officers approached the male and immediately noticed that he was soaking wet and that his clothes were embedded with dirt. The male identified himself as Tyreek Redford L., an 18-year-old male that resides in Greenwood, Indiana. Tyreek was taken into custody and then questioned at the Greenwood Police Department by detectives. As a result of the detectives' interviews with Tyreek, 2 search warrants were later served in the afternoon. One was at a residence on Declaration Drive, and the second was at a residence on Sembra Drive, and that is in the Pines of Greenwood. As a result of that investigation and the interview with Tyreek, he was arrested on the charge of murder and transported to the Johnson County Jail where he's currently at. At this time, that is all that I can release regarding the investigation. It's an ongoing investigation, and I don't want to jeopardize the integrity of the case, so I will not be answering any more questions specific to the investigation. I would like to close by saying that the safety of our students, of our children, and our communities and our schools are the top priority of everyone standing up here today. We have many measures in place, protocols, training to achieve that goal. However, there's one thing that we don't have, and that is the ability to be with these children all the time. So I stand up here asking parents, please be engaged in your child's world. Know what's going on in their lives. Teach them the value of life and the consequences for their actions. Teach them appropriate conflict resolution and that violence is never the answer. It's all too often these days that we're seeing our youth resort to pulling a trigger as a result of minor conflicts. Not necessarily here in Greenwood, we saw that yesterday, but anytime you turn on the news, it seems like it's a pretty common story anymore. That's a problem. We've got to teach our kids that there's other ways to resolve these conflicts. As a result of yesterday, there's a 16-year-old young man that lost his life. There's a family that's experiencing unimaginable grief because of that loss. But there's also another family that lost an 18-year-old who's now incarcerated for murder. And for what? Minor conflict? It's just not worth it. So please, parents, be engaged in your child's life, talk to them, teach them appropriate conflict resolution, teach them the consequences of their actions, and help us keep our children safe. And I'm going to turn this over now to Dr. Spray.
Hello, I'm Patrick Spray, Superintendent of the Clark Pleasant Community Schools. Tamario Stokes became a Whiteland Community High School warrior on August 17th of this year when his family enrolled him and his brother. Tamario Stokes attended classes for 4 days before he was killed yesterday on his way to his bus stop. Thoughts and prayers are not enough to lift this unimaginable pain inflicted on Tamario Stokes' family. To his family, please know we are here for you, and we'll do what we need to do to make sure to try to make your family whole. We are grateful to the members of the law enforcement community, Greenwood Police Department especially, but also the other law enforcement agencies that helped us maintain safety within our school districts, increase patrols. This includes the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, Whiteland Police Department, New Whiteland Police Department, and others. Also, we are grateful to have our Clark Pleasant Police Department and our SRO officers on our campuses each day to build relationships, but also to maintain an orderly and safe environment in our schools. We are also very grateful for the staff that we have in all of our schools and the professionalism demonstrated yesterday by our administrators and teachers and classified staff at our high school. The ability to meet kids where they are, to provide that support that they need in times of grief, in times of uncertainty, is unparalleled, and we appreciate them very much. We do have mental health professionals available to all of our students and all of our staff in the Clark Pleasant Community Schools. We will ramp up those services as much as possible. We are also thankful for the many community members, clergy, other school communities around the area who have reached out to us and to provide any assistance that we would like as well. So, thank you.
Are there any questions for any of us standing up here?
Chief, did you say that he was walking in a cornfield with a police officer, or was he in a backyard?
No, he was walking near the cornfield, but into a backyard on Declaration Drive.
He was soaking wet?
Yes.
You mentioned that it was a minor conflict. We've been told by some family and friends that it was over a possible moped. Can you confirm that for us?
I can't.
We got reports from neighbors that there was a swap situation of some kind at the suspect's house last night. Was that the serving of a search warrant, or can you talk about that?
No. So there was a separate search warrant served last night, unrelated to this case, by the Johnson County Sheriff's Department.
Do you know how many shots were fired and what weapon was used?
I can't release that information right now.
It is the Kendall and Casey show, the latest on the press conference from the tragic shooting involving the Greenwood youth. They have a suspect in custody. And Casey, it really does come back, and they touched on this in the press conference, and obviously the news department will update you throughout the day. We'll play clips of that if you missed any part of it. A big breaking news story. I think the bigger conversation here is that more and more, and they talked about this in the press conference, younger people especially tend to move to violence almost instantaneously over what appear to be relatively small beefs, and this is a problem that's getting worse. It's not getting better.
Yeah, it's a matter of being able to talk out your emotions with someone who can help you figure them out.
I think a bigger part of it, too, is the lack, and, we've heard many people in law enforcement talk with us about this, especially in the greater Indianapolis area. Now, not true in every parts of the state, and I guess you would say not true in many, but there are certainly parts of the state and many parts of this country where criminals don't fear the justice system. Like, they don't say, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. Maybe I ought to hit the pause button here. There's a good chance in many cases, and we see this with violence all the time here in the city, where you won't get caught. And if you do, thanks to Ryan Muir's revolving door over there in Marion County, that you'll be back on the street right away, and you may pay a minimum penalty.
Mm-hmm. Well, and didn't he just say yesterday that their efforts to reduce crime in Indianapolis were starting to pay off?
Yeah, that was a bold statement because they'll probably be under the record homicide number this year because they, and hopefully they don't, have a mass shooting like the one they did at FedEx. There were 2 mass shootings last year, which will be the difference. Violence in this city is not getting tangibly better by any stretch of the imagination, and it's things like this in which a 16-year-old is gunned down allegedly by an 18-year-old, and it's some relatively minor beef that you would say, why in the world would killing someone be the answer to solve this?
Well, I've heard a lot of talk about this, and one of the 3 legs is a demoralized police force.
Yeah.
The second one is fatherless homes.
Yep.
There's not a strong presence at home teaching children.
Yep.
And then the third one, and as you mentioned, was lenient prosecution.
Yep. So we'll keep you updated throughout the day if news continues to break on that involving the tragic shooting that took place just a couple days ago, and news department will keep you up to date on that as well throughout the day.
Yeah, and I feel like we're going to be hearing a lot more talk about conflict resolution skills.
Stop shooting people.
Yeah.
Stop. It's pretty simple. Stop shooting people.
That's a good start. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
When traffic's a bear, Matt Bear is a beast.
And now we have a crash southbound 69 and 96th Street. Traffic absolutely soul crushing.
When you need to get from here,
crashes on the east side, south side,
to there,
north side, crashes everywhere. An absolute car apocalypse today in the Circle City.
Matt Bear.
Delays, and when I say delays, I mean stop traffic continues to build.
Mornings and afternoons.
So you're going to want to change your reroute. In fact, I'll tell you right
93
now.
WIBC.
There's only one company that meets the gold standard in hair restoration and hair transplants. We Grow Hair Indy. Hey, it's Rob, and I'm here with Darren Andrews. Darren, people are coming from all over the world to We Grow Hair Indy to grow their hair back.
Hey Rob, it's great to be here. Yes, they are. And Rob, as you well know, we are very proud of the technology and the results of We Grow Hair Indy. We Grow Hair Indy is one of only 2 places in the entire US that offers both the Artist Robotic FUE and our trademark procedure multi-unit hair grafting.
We Grow Hair Indy filled in my crown area and restored the hair on the top of my head. Call 888-724-5129 for a free evaluation. That's 888-724-5129 and grow your hair back. The one company that has the best technology and results. WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard in hair restoration.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. In the last year, we've seen our competition double, even triple their delivery charges. Thompson Furniture and Mattress still delivers for free within 75 miles of Columbus. White glove delivery and setup from the best team anywhere, and it's all for free. Whether it's your Lazy Boys, Smith Brothers, Tempur-Pedic, outdoor furniture, it doesn't matter. It's delivered free. Guaranteed best price plus free delivery only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Discover Downtown Indy with Indiana Sports Corp's annual Indy Ultimate, Saturday, September 10th, starting and finishing at Monument Circle. Experience the best of downtown's venues and landmarks with this 5-mile run-walk. This year's brand new route includes Carroll Stadium, the state capitol, and favorites like Lucas Oil Stadium and Victory Field. The Jim Irsay collection will be up in Lucas Oil Stadium with items used by some of the greatest artists in music history. Run with a friend or bring a group. Participants get an Adidas shirt, medal, and Indy 11 voucher to a future match. Register now at IndyUltimate.com.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. End the summer strong by starting up a new season of productivity. Your business upgrade begins with up to 48% off top-rated laptops, like Vostro, taking performance to the next level with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. It's time to push your growing business even further. What's next for you? Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Mortgage rates are down and home equity is up. If you've been thinking about a refinance, start online at thehomeloanexpert.com.
NMLS number 1326241.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
And Casey Daniels.
Wow, she's an angel.
On 93 WIBC.
A federal judge in Florida has ordered the U.S. Justice Department to file a redacted version of the affidavit in support of the FBI search of Donald Trump's home. It is supposed to be released by noon today. I'm guessing it will be released at 11:59. And it is expected to be a heavily blacked out document explaining everything. The Department of Justice says that they will remove sensitive details about witnesses and the scope and the direction of the probe. But the affidavit may offer the fullest explanation yet to date about the events that led up to these.
Yes, if you enjoy seeing the words is and the and you will love seeing. Look,
it's going to be a good read, huh?
We played the Zuckerberg clip on Joe Rogan earlier in last hour, in which Mark Zuckerberg admitted the FBI came to him and basically pressured him without specifically saying the Hunter Biden laptop, but you needed an IQ of 7 to put 2 and 2 together. They said, look, there's going to be some stuff coming out. We think it's Russian disinformation. You need to be very careful about running this stuff. And Zuckerberg even said, he's like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. They didn't specifically say Hunter Biden's laptop is allegedly going to be released. But without a doubt, this should be the lead story on every news agency in the entire country, that the FBI, an arm of the federal government, was pressuring a private media entity on what to run or not run. And now with Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin, saying whistleblowers have contacted him, saying the FBI said, we are not going to allow our involvement in something to change the election again, because they were livid because Hillary Clinton was corrupt and awful and a pathological liar and got caught lying again, basically, right before the election. Or let me rephrase that. She didn't get caught lying again. She got caught being irresponsible again. And as such, that announcement about the laptop and Wiener's involvement in it and the emails that were on another computer and Wiener's involvement changed maybe the course of the election. We don't know. But the point is the FBI admitting we're not going to follow the truth. We're not going to go where this takes us. They just flat out said, we're not doing this. And not only are we not doing it, we're going to pressure. We know they pressured Facebook. I guarantee they pressured Twitter to say, don't run this. The FBI is completely corrupt. This is a banana frickin' republic at this point. You have law enforcement openly weaponizing itself and working in a political manner against certain people. And thankfully, the American people are fine. This is all the stuff, if you'd read the Snowden and Julian Assange stuff, people should know anyway. I mean, this is not new. This has been going on for 10 years. This has been out in the public. But now this new poll, Trafalgar's got a poll out that says basically now the country is split on whether the FBI is too political, corrupt, and not to be trusted. So it should be more than that, but at least we finally reached the point where half of the country, or half of those who respond, say you are awful.
Yeah, less than half of Americans view the FBI favorably at this point. It was 46% said the FBI is too political, corrupt, and not to be trusted. And then the poll also found that the nation's evenly divided over whether or not the FBI and DOJ are telling the truth about their reasons behind the raid at Trump's house. Of course, Democrats believing the agency at 77%, while Republicans largely not believing what they're saying at 72%. So it goes back to your point that it's now becoming the attention of everybody, not just a select informed few.
The entire country really, and we've talked about this many times before, but we need to say it again. The founding fathers created a brilliant system. It's arguably it is the most brilliant system of governance ever created by man. The one major flaw in their system was because of the checks and balances that existed. The system was designed based on good and decent and noble people, because since they understood what it took to found the country. They could not envision a world in which good, noble, and decent people would not be the ones running the government, because they knew what it took to found the government, and they assumed, and I think this was, it was, as hindsight gives us, wrongly determined, well, surely these stories, because it was such a courageous and heroic effort to found this country and create this perfect system of governance, that the stories will be told from generation to generation, and it will always be good and noble and decent people who will step up. Mm-hmm. It is not that anymore. It is completely corrupt, totally political people who are dominating our system of law enforcement and justice at a federal level, and the whole system crumbles down when you cannot trust law enforcement or the justice system.
And it's not only the FBI, but now another poll that was from Trafalgar, but now Rasmussen reports that Americans think that the Department of Justice completely is politicized. So it's not just the FBI, one element, but the entire department.
Yeah, this is an interesting poll from Rasmussen that said the question was, the Department of Justice has reached an intolerable state of politicization.
Intolerable state.
57 public school math there. I had to put strongly agree and somewhat disagree together. 57% of people agree with that statement. 41% strongly agree, compared to only 35% who disagree. Only 24% strongly disagree. So Americans now are also saying in another poll that these organizations that we depend upon to be the most trustworthy amongst us, because you are law enforcement, you are part of justice in this country, and justice depends on being blind and following the evidence, are the exact opposite of that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the student loan transfer. The price tag of President Biden's student loan program, well, we don't know for sure. Does anybody know for sure? It's being estimated it will be between $440 billion and $600 billion, and it will take 4 to 10 years to pay for it all. And this is coming from the Center for a Responsible Federal Budget.
and this is their estimate now.
I laugh. That's a funny name. Center for a Responsible Federal Budget.
Well, and like I said, we laugh because, it's gone up basically $200 billion in a day's time. Who knows where it'll be in a week's time? And they don't know. And we played the audio earlier of Corinne Jean-Pierre. Can't give an answer. This is why this country is in the shape it's in. It's why our skyrocketing prices for everything. It's why the country is teetering or is in a recession, because you have people who do sweeping policy with the stroke of a pen, and they can't even tell you the most basic aspect of it, which is how much is it going to cost.
It started out at $329 billion. That was the first estimate, right? And that was from the Penn-Wharton budget model. And now it's gone up to $440 to $600 billion.
And again, picture this in your business that you work at or the business that you own. If your boss came to you and said, we're going to do this revolutionary project, and it's going to have a profound impact on not just the vast majority of our employees, but the people, the customers that we serve, and a lot is riding on this project, wouldn't the first question you have be,
how much?
How much is it going to cost, and how are you going to pay for it? And imagine if your boss told you that they were going to do this project that could potentially alter the course of the company you work for and your employment, and they would just say, don't know yet, but we're going to do it. They made the decision of go before they even knew what the ramifications were on it, and that is absolutely 100% not the way the system is designed to operate.
So another thing we should talk about this morning, and this is more on the fun Friday side of things, Joey Tata has passed away at the age of 85.
Why would that be fun?
No, I said it's on the lighter side because we're going to talk about Beverly Hills 90210.
What is lighter about a guy dying?
The show is the lighter side of it.
I see.
Because you were a big fan of that show.
Well,
it ruled your life.
I, as a young child, enjoyed. Well, can I be honest? Can I just be honest here? It's just you and me listening to this, right? I think Kevin's paying attention too.
Yeah,
he's napping. I liked 90210 when I was a kid because it was an excuse to see a lot of cleavage, and my parents didn't catch on that that's why I was watching it. So yes, I was a fan of 90210 as a kid. And Tiffany Amber Thiessen was on 90210, and she was well assembled.
See, this is the lighter side of Friday that I'm talking about. Would you rather be a longtime bit part player like he was with a lot of reoccurring roles on a lot of shows, or would you rather be a big star?
Yeah, so Joe Itada was the guy's name. He owned the Peach Pit, which was the little ice cream parlor or whatever that the kids hung out with and he was kind of became a side character that was later becoming a more integral part of the show. He died. He was 85. He'd been in a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He was on like the Rockford Files. He was in some of the early Batman stuff.
Yep.
And so I did ponder the question, Casey, that you just asked, and I will ask it back to you. Would you rather be a guy like this who has made a lengthy career,
being a supporting?
Yep, he's been in all sorts of stuff. He worked for decades and decades and decades. Or would you rather be a person who had the one big hit and then that was it, that you're not in anything else? I'm trying to think of who might be a good example of this. One that kind of comes to mind is like, where is John Cryer these days? Whatever happened to him?
Oh, right.
From 2.5 Men?
Good example.
He's like completely bald, I thought the last time I saw him, and I don't know what he does anymore. So would you rather which one would you rather have? I think, I go back to the movie The Sandlot when Babe Ruth comes to see Benny the Jet Rodriguez. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. I think I'd rather have the one big hit because you can always live on in syndication for years and years and years and years.
Me too. I was thinking more on a financial level where I just like to make all that money at once.
Yeah, that's true. The royalties,
and then be done.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then I thought, I don't know. You'll be typecast because of that one role, but who cares, right? Just cash in, score big, and then out.
I've been typecast in radio for years, and look at how well I'm doing.
Oh. You know what? I was thinking about that, but really? You're going to tell me about typecasting? A woman in radio?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see. You're either going to do the midday show or you're going to be the morning show sidekick giggle bunny. Thanks to women like Mock and the Chicks. Because, women on a news talk station.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty.
And then they brought the man in. The ratings are a lot better. Just kidding, Mark.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, 1128. Good morning.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. Sundown has a large selection of container and balled and burlap trees in stock, and they're 30% off through September 4th. Now's a great time to plant before we get late into the fall season. Find that perfect shade tree you always wanted or a wonderful ornamental tree to finish off your landscape beds. Follow Sundown Gardens on Facebook and Instagram. Lots of fall fun's coming to Sundown Gardens in the next few months. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
One of the best things that's happened here in Indy over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here. QC Kinetics is giving relief every day to folks here with chronic joint pain using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They harness the power of your own body's healing properties, like in your blood or plasma, concentrate them and apply to your affected joints. The results can be mind-blowing. These regenerative treatments are designed to repair and restore your damaged joint tissue with no drugs, no surgery, no side effects, no steroids, and no downtime. The success rate is incredible, and they're growing fast. They started with one medical clinic. Now they have clinics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and more on the way. Don't continue to live with that nagging joint pain. Discover the exciting all-natural advanced natural options that we have to access thanks to QC Kinetics. It's a free consultation. See what your options are. Call QC Kinetics now. 463-235-7160 in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
Hey, how would you live your life if you could wake up each morning knowing there was enough money coming in to not only cover your basic needs, but also your goals and dreams as well?
The mission at the Singer Financial Group is that they want to work with people who expect their relationship to be transformational rather than transactional. If that's what you're looking for, you should connect with the Singer Financial Group. 317-852-9153. That's 317-852-9153. Or go to singerfinancialgroup.com. Schedule a discovery meeting and see how the retirement income money map planning process could transform your life. 317-852-9153.
Investment advisory services offered through registered investment advisors Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, and AE Wealth Management, LLC. Working with Singer Financial cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
You forget something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up Braden tonight after practice.
Oh, did something come up at work?
Nah, not even going to make it in today.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'm coming up on some construction in about a quarter mile. I've already started ignoring the signs. In a minute, I'll force my way through traffic while texting. I'll pull the wheel a little too far and drive right through the barrels where I'm going to hit a few workers. One of them is going to get killed, so then I'm going to be arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter.
No one plans on having an accident, but you can plan to avoid one. Read the signs. Slow down. Stay alert.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
The 9th Annual Indy Labor Fest is September 3rd on Monument Circle, an admission-free street festival with a chance to learn about career opportunities. Hosted by the labor unions of Central Indiana.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
What they know. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Not much else new from investigators on the shooting of a teenager in Greenwood. Police Chief Jim Ison says that Tamario Stokes Jr. was shot and killed by a man in a black hoodie who they spotted 3 hours afterward.
Officers approached the male and immediately noticed that he was soaking wet and that his clothes were embedded with dirt. The male identified himself as Tyreek Redford L., an 18-year-old male that resides in Greenwood.
And they arrested him. He's charged preliminarily with murder. The Federal Reserve Chairman is defending the central bank's response to soaring inflation. Jerome Powell acknowledged raising interest rates is painful, but warned about deeper pain if inflation isn't controlled. Powell spoke as the central bank is under enormous pressure to tame inflation without bringing on a full-on recession. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It's 11:33 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
You know who wrote this song? Kevin, do you know who wrote this song?
Oh, I know
Natalie
exactly who
Merchant.
wrote this. That's why I played it.
No.
No.
Bruce Springsteen wrote this song.
Oh, really?
That's why Kevin played it.
Oh, it's one of those.
And it was what, Patti Smith did the famous version that you're
Patti Smith.
And then the 10,000 Maniacs.
Mhm.
That was the
Well, that's why I said Natalie Merchant.
Yeah.
You know how I know that Bruce Springsteen wrote that?
What?
There's a HBO series called Defiant Ones.
Oh, yeah.
They have like a whole episode on about this song, I think, and about
Really?
Bruce Springsteen.
Huh. Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah.
That's like one of those shocking little trivia things that you never knew, like
Yeah.
Friends in Low Places from Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
He didn't write that.
His live version of this, Niels Lofgren does like a 3-minute guitar solo. Niels Lofgren, one of the all-time great guitar players, played for Neil Young, several other famous musicians. Just like a 3-minute guitar solo on this that is just off the charts good. And I question why you would give such a national treasure away to other artists to let them doctor and butcher, but you know, genius has its own genius owes no explanation, Casey.
Okay, it's a compliment though, right? He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. Coming up later this hour, we're going to speak with some hot doggers.
Literally.
I know.
This is your thing, right? Like you were
It's not my
well, you
thing.
were so jazzed. You're like, do you want to talk to the Wienermobile people? And I said,
and
sounds like you want to talk to the Wienermobile people.
Well, I was shocked. You've never heard of it before.
Yeah, so apparently there is a 27-foot
How is that possible?
Wienermobile that the Oscar Mayer people drive all over the country to various cities. They are in Indianapolis for the next 4 days.
Uh-huh.
And apparently people are infatuated to watch, go get their picture taken with this 27-foot Wienermobile.
How is it that you've never heard of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
Why would I hear of that, Casey?
Because it's been around since 1936.
There's lots of people that have been around since 1936. I don't know who they are either. What reason would I have had to had an encounter with the Wienermobile? It's not like it's the presidential motorcade.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it's not like
that's why you answered my question.
It's not doing leading the pace, the pace car at the Indy 500.
It's just not in your wheelhouse.
Well, and that's fine. I just didn't know it was a thing, but apparently it is a thing. And I told you this. I look at it exact same way I look at Joe Rogan. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't see why people are the way they are, but they are. And because I'm a man of the people, am willing to accept that in the ether in which we all live, there are things I do not understand or necessarily appreciate to the level others do, but I appreciate that they do, and as such, we must cover that.
And we will, coming up later this hour. Let's talk about what's going on in the school district in Missouri. They have reinstated corporal punishment. Yeah. So it was a survey done with the parents there in the district, and they said they were in favor of it with their permission first, and it is supposed to be a last resort. So how do we feel about this? First of all, how do we feel about spanking in general? And then how do you feel about someone at the school, whether it be a teacher, administrator, a coach, a representative, spanking your child? Okay, so here's my first question. What is the guideline for the spanking? Is it like Johnny talked out of turn? That's a paddling? Is that our level? Or is it like Johnny was in a fist fight with one of his fellow youth? That's a paddle. Like where are we? What is the standard by which you get beaten? Right. Well, I think, as they say, it's supposed to be a last resort, that, yes, they're supposed to go to that in the situation where it could turn violent. Okay, so let's face it, kids were... Or they're just completely unruly and out of control. Kids were markedly better behaved generations ago. I don't think there's any dispute on that there was... But we just started our hour with the press conference about a shooting involving 2 local youth with Greenwood. And kids were better behaved, and I think the reason for that is, A, as you talked about, parents, plural, fathers and mothers were involved in their lives, and B, they were raised to say if you misbehave, there will be ramifications. Now, my parents never spanked me. Of course, they never had to because, well, look at this. I mean, come on. But they didn't have to because I was raised and taught that when your parents... One, here are the rules, here are the boundaries for society, and as long as you stay inside the boundaries, you're going to be fine. If you get outside the boundaries, you're not going to like that. Now, I don't know about you, Casey. It was much better for me to get in trouble with my mother than my father, because my mother would forget that I had my Nintendo and my television upstairs. You go to your room right away. Okay. And then about 2 hours later, it would dawn on her, that's really quiet up there. There's toys up there. You better not be playing that Nintendo. But in a world in which kids many of them are rapidly resorting to violence in a swift manner, and kids in general are not nearly well behaved, nor do they have respect for adults or authority. I think if my little Johnny were in a fist fight or endangering the lives of others... You think a paddling is appropriate? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm open to the idea. Or do you think that that's a circle that with the paddle, you're teaching violence? Well, again, it comes back to, in the days of the paddling, as we might say, it seemed like children were better behaved. It did not seem like there were mass shootings nearly as often or violence in the street among local youth. I mean, I'm not trying to be this person who paints, boy, the 50s were a better time, but in many ways... The 50s were a better time. There was just more respect for people who are older than you. If people don't fear anything, and this is in general, right? Because it's true as adults, and we just talked about this at the start of the hour with the criminal justice system. One of the reasons violent crime is on the rise is we have uber left prosecutors, mayors, city councils who are not punishing, if at all, certainly to the extent they should be, violent crime. And criminals believe, A, there's a great chance they won't get caught. And if they do, there's a good chance they'll get back out on the street. There's nothing to fear then. So if you don't fear anything, then why wouldn't you behave, unless you're raised in a house where you're taught to respect authority?
why wouldn't you behave in any manner you want? And maybe, look, I'm open to this discussion that maybe this is a great way to reinstill some respect for adults and authority into young people.
I was always more afraid of the spanking than the actual spanking.
Yeah.
I can recall one time my dad was in the bedroom with me and he took off a big leather belt and he was hitting the bed.
Oh, wow.
With that belt.
Whoa, let's go.
I mean, I was probably bad, but he never laid a hand on me. But he wanted me to know, his point was heard loud and clear.
Yeah, and that comes back to good parenting does not need to resort to violence to get the message across. But if the parents sign off on it, you can't just be hitting somebody's kid, but if the parent signs off on it and they're okay with it and they think it's the best way to raise their kid, in a crazy way, Casey, you are doing the right thing by giving parents control over their kid. How do you want me to deal with your kid? If that's the best way to get them to respect and listen to people and the parent signs off on it, I'm not sure I have a problem with that at all.
Well, I tell you, if there were anybody in any school system that had ever tried to lay a hand, a finger, a pinky on my baby, I would have gone mama bear and lost it. That would not fly with me. You cannot assault my child.
Well, you're entitled to be a weak parent. It's fine.
But she also knew better to ever get into any sort of trouble where that would be necessary. All right, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile hot doggers are up next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hammer. Think my dad's passed out somewhere, so coming up on Friday, the top stories of the day. Let's go. 93 WIBC.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get internet and security for just $60 a month when you add mobile and save $480 your first year. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New Comcast Business 250 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. 2-year agreement required. Equipment installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep all services for 12 months to receive discount. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most Root Metrics 5G data reliability wins in 2H 2021. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement.
At Franciscan Health, we're inspired by what moves you and how you move through life. So if you're suffering from joint pain and want to get back to an active lifestyle, Franciscan Health Mooresville and Carmel, home to the Center for Hip and Knee Surgery, is your best move. Our world-renowned orthopedic surgeons offer the latest advancements in total joint replacement, including outpatient surgery. If you're ready to get moving with less pain, request an appointment at centerforhipandkneesurgery.org.
Puccini's 7 side locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com. Puccini's 7 side locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com.
Founded right here in Indianapolis in 1991 and winner of the World Pizza Championships in Parma, Italy.
Puccini's 7 side locations. Puccini's Pizza Pasta.com.
Here's Terry Stacy to tell you what's going on with WIBC.
The Home and Garden Show is on the road again, and we're heading back to Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone. Live every Saturday starting at 9. Be sure to tune in to Pat, Denny, and the gang on 93 WIBC. Follow WIBC on your favorite social media channels to stay up to date on breaking news, traffic updates, and weather. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Grab more info online at WIBC.com.
Turn to the experts at Howald Heating and Carrier for all your plumbing needs. Howald Heating, Air, and Plumbing, where you can trust your flush. To us.
Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly like to be.
Good morning, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the first Wienermobile was created in 1936 by Oscar Mayer's nephew. It was scrapped because the metal was needed for World War II. And then following those years, many variations of the Wienermobile have come out, and now they even have a Wienermobile drone and a rover.
And they go all over the country in this thing. They are in Indianapolis now for the next several days at various locations, which you have posted on the side piece up at WIBC.com.
Yep.
I did not know this is a thing, but it's huge. People from all over central Indiana, all over the state will flock to get their photo with this thing. And so we had Benny Buns and Caitlin Ketchup as our guests because they drive the Wienermobile to talk about this tourist attraction that for some reason attracts thousands and thousands and thousands of people from across Indiana to get their photo with this thing.
Yeah. Did you see how happy?
Yes, Terry Stacey was elated. She is the judge of whether something is important and big. So now I'm totally on board. This was an interview that I wish I had known would be this life altering when we did it earlier this morning.
All right. Well, let's take a listen as we catch up with the hot doggers. I have something shocking to share with both of you. My co-host, who is one of the smartest and most informed people I've ever met in my life, Rob Kendall. He is a treasure here in central Indiana. Has never heard or seen the Wienermobile in person. Can you believe that?
No, but we are so glad that you're in town this week. Hopefully you can see us cruising around Indianapolis.
Well, now my deal is, it's like, you know, where you hear about something and you say, I must be a part of it. Now that I know there's a Caitlin Ketchup and a Benny Buns and a Wienermobile, I feel like I made the wrong career path, Casey, in choosing radio. I should have been in the wiener industry. Tell us what you guys do. This is like a phenomenon. You have like a cult-like following. These are all over the country. Tell us about the Wienermobile and the Rolling Stone-esque crowds that come to see you guys at various locations.
Yes, we are Oscar Mayer Hot Doggers, official job title. We are on a coast-to-coast weenie roast with the Wienermobile. We take it to a new city every single week, just sharing miles of smiles. There are 6 Wienermobiles and then 12 hot doggers all over the United States. And we do different events, parades, grocery stores, just trying to bring a little levity to life.
Isn't this great? We can catch up with the hot doggers.
I see what you did there. Catch up with the hot. So what do you guys do? People come, get the photo with the thing. Tell me what the lure and the attraction is. Is this Wienermobile that big of a draw?
Well, the allure is that it's a 27-foot-long hot dog on wheels. But the most important metric is that it's 60 normal-sized hot dogs end to end. And so this is a huge vehicle that draws smiles wherever we go. And at our events this week, we're going to be having a prize wheel at our Kroger locations while supplies last. People can come, take photos, talk to us about what life is like on the road, and spin our prize wheel for a chance to win awesome Oscar Mayer merch, as well as we're going to be handing out coupons as well.
Okay, now you had mentioned that there are 6 Wienermobiles throughout the country and 12 hot doggers. You are 2 of the hot doggers. And I know that not just anybody can be a hot dogger, Rob. So, Caitlin, tell me, how did you get the job to be a hot dogger for Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
They hire recent college graduates. I applied my senior year of school and was a lucky enough dog to cut the mustard. I hadn't even heard of the Wienermobile until I was a junior in college, and I saw it parked outside of a local rock climbing gym in Milwaukee, and I ended up talking to a current hot dogger, and I thought, wow, there is no better job on earth for me right after I graduate, where I get to travel to a new city every single week and get to talk to thousands of people who are excited about the Wienermobile.
Caitlin Ketchup and Benny Buns are our guests. I always wanted to say that on the air. They are driving the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. It is in the greater central Indiana area today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Do you have those locations, Casey?
Yeah, I do. You know what? They're on the WIBC website right now. Just go to the side piece and you can read a nice big article about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Now, the hot doggers, you guys, you're kind of like Miss America. You only get this crown for 1 year and then you have to turn it over. Is that correct?
That is spot on. And I've never heard it compared to that before, so that is a perfect analogy. That is a perfect analogy. Once our year is up, we have to turn our keys over and they bring in a set of fresh dogs or fresh meat to drive the Wienermobile.
Wait, so Casey and I were talking before we started this interview. What do you guys do with the Wienermobile? Like, okay, so your thing today is that you're at where's the location? It's Kroger, right? You guys are at Kroger right now between, what is it, 10 and 4 today. Which Kroger is it, Casey?
The one in Fishers.
The one, okay, the Kroger, is that right?
That's going to be the one on Thompson Road today. So we're going to be the one on Thompson Road from 10 to 4.
Okay, so you're at the one at Thompson Road from 10 to 4. What do you do with the Wienermobile when you're done with the event? Like, do you park it at a hotel? Is it at a campground? What happens to the Wienermobile, and how hard is it to park a 27-foot hot dog?
That's a great question. So the Wienermobile is our personal vehicle when we're done with our events. So we take the Wienermobile everywhere and everywhere. And while it is very large, we don't sleep in it. It's not a weenie bago. So we park it at our local hotel. But we can explore the city with it. And I can tell you that we're going to be trying to set up a ride at the Indy 500 for 2 laps. So we were able to talk to them, and we might be doing that later tonight.
That would be awesome.
Do you need a special permit to drive a 27-foot hot dog? Because like all these, big trucks and stuff, you got to have a special license to do that. Did you guys have to go to some sort of special school to maneuver a 27-foot hot dog?
We had 2 weeks of exceptional training at Hot Dog High, where we learned everything, how to drive the Wienermobile, park it, to run our events. And let me tell you, it was 2 of the most wonderful weeks of my life to get to team build with the other hot doggers, and also, of course, learn how to drive the Wienermobile.
Of course.
So Caitlin Ketchup and Benny Buns are our guests. They are the operators of the Wienermobile, which is this, I never knew before this morning, was a giganto tourist attraction. They are at various central Indiana locations throughout the weekend. You can find them at WIBC.com. Click on the side piece. They're at the Kroger at Thompson Road right now as we're speaking until 4 o'clock. Go ahead, Casey.
What kind of gas mileage does the Wienermobile get?
We like to measure our mileage in miles per mile. It's countless right now.
Do you, so you guys are obviously really into this, right? Like you're Oscar Mayer Wiener super fans, but have you ever met somebody at one of these events that you're like, wow, that person is an extreme Wiener super fan?
We meet incredible people all over the United States. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the job. Right now, I'm being reminded of a woman we met named Jane, who we met in Minnesota, and she first saw the Wienermobile on a road trip with her family in Indiana in the 1960s, and she came to our event so excited to show us a poster that she made that won first place in the Minnesota State Fair, and it was all of the history of the Wienermobile. And she was just the biggest fan and so excited to show us. And she got to remake the same photo that she took 60 years ago.
That's fun. Okay, Caitlin Ketchup and Benny Buns on the line with us from the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. So did you guys know each other before you were forced to drive around the country together in the hot dog?
No, we did not know each other. We were in the final interview group together. So we knew each other through a final interview. But we were complete strangers when we flew into Hot Dog High. But now I can say that because we spent so much time together on the road that we're really, really good friends.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of a forced marriage, isn't it? Yeah. So what?
We're really close with the other 12 hot doggers, too. We FaceTime them all the time and have become really close together and have this shared experience of living on the hot dog highway.
Okay, so two last quick questions. Where is hometown for you guys, and where are you off to next?
I am from Winsville, Missouri, about an hour outside of St. Louis.
And I am from Metro Detroit.
And Monday, we are going to be headed to Kansas City.
Fantastic. All right, Benny Buns, you said Metro Detroit. Where Metro Detroit? What city? Nobody's from Detroit.
I'm from a town called Royal Oak.
Oh, I know exactly where you're talking about. I got a tattoo there once. Right next to fashionable Ferndale. All right, hot doggers, we appreciate your time. Do you guys eat like your entire day? Are you just like shoveling in hot dogs all day long?
I do love a good Oscar Mayer wiener, but I a Wienermobile doesn't serve hot dogs, so we are not eating them every day.
Okay, but you're passing out wiener whistles.
Absolutely. Wiener whistles, we've been handing them out for over 60 years, and they're just an American icon. So stop by, see us, get your wiener whistle. We're going to be at the Kroger on Thompson Road today, this Greenwood Touch a Truck tomorrow, and the Kroger on 71st Street on Sunday.
All right, it's Caitlin Ketchup and Benny Buns with the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Thank you so much for joining us. And that's going to do it for us. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob, excellent job, and thank you so much all week long. Kevin, good job too. And we will see you back here Monday. It's 93 WIBC.
Benny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. Sundown has a large selection of container and balled and burlap trees in stock, and they're 30% off through September 4th. Now's a great time to plant before we get late into the fall season. Find that perfect shade tree you always wanted or a wonderful ornamental tree to finish off your landscape beds. Follow Sundown Gardens on Facebook and Instagram. Lots of fall fun's coming to Sundown Gardens in the next few months. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. Sundown Gardens.